Raiders are 5-4 overall, 4-0 at home, 1-4 on the road. Third and a long one, and again the third running back, Booker Russell, is in there. From about the 6-yard line, Mark Van Egan sustains the drive. It'll be first and goal for the Raiders.
Boy, Sylvester and Lawrence opened up a nice hole on that right side. And all we got is a fullback slant off the right side here. Sylvester, your right guard, and Lawrence, your right tackle, opening up a fine hole there.
First and goal just outside the 2-yard line. The secondary for San Francisco. Charles Cornelius and Gerard Williams at the corners. Tony Dungy is the free safety. Tim Gray is the strong safety. Jensen in motion. The fake to Russell. Stabler wants to throw on first down, and it doesn't work out too well. He's sacked by a combination of Dwayne Board and Ted Vincent.
Right there is one of the reasons Stabler wasn't successful. Little play action shot here. Stabler, play action to Booker Russell, 34, looking for his tight end on the right side. Everybody covered, and here's where the pass rush gets to him. That right there is why Stabler wasn't successful last year. He was doing a lot of that, throwing off his back.
This pushes them back to the 9 on second and goal. 10 minutes and 34 seconds to play in quarter number 1. The Raiders have had the ball since the outset. Derek Jensen's first carry. Gets about 3 down to the 6. And a third down call coming up for Stabler. Put yourself in his position now, Roman. You need 6 for the touch. What do you do?
Well, your big receiver has been Chester, who has 43 pass receptions. I look for him to drop back and look for Chester coming across the middle.
Chester, in his 10th year out of Oregon State, as you mentioned, Roman, has caught 43 passes this year, already exceeding his single-season high, which had been 42 as a Baltimore Colt. Branch goes out wide to the right, and they keep it on the ground. Van Egan will not get there. They stop him at about the 1, and now there's a decision coming up for Tom Flores and the Oakland Raiders. Do they go for the touchdown, or do they bring on Jim Breach for an easy field goal try?
Well, Bob, with that kind of call, you would expect them to go for it, but they're not going for it. Surprising call, 4 yards to go to the end zone, going with the run, especially when your passing game is a thing that's been real good for you in the past games that you've won.
Jim Breach is in to attempt a chip shot. David Hum kneels at the 9-yard line, making this a 19-yard attempt for Breach, who is connected on 11 out of 16 this year. Low snap, but Hum gets it down. A penalty flag flies. The kick was good, but let's wait and see what the call is.
Defense has 12 men on the field.
Well, that's a way to stop them.
Now, of course, with this penalty, the Raiders could take half the distance to the goal line, which might change their thinking about going for the touchdown.
Go for it. Go
they could
for
accept
it.
the 3.
It's early in the game, and you know, people always say it's too early to get the points on the board. Heck, you move down here, go for it.
12 men on the field. Defense refused. 3 points.
Well, you got a brief look at Tom Flores on the Oakland sideline. They refuse the penalty. They accept the field goal by Jim Breach. And the Oakland Raiders lead the San Francisco 49ers 3-0.
Was surprised.
Ray Guy getting set to kick off for the Oakland Raiders, who lead it 3-0 after the 19-yard field goal by Jim Breach, which came about 6 minutes into the first quarter. Oakland had held the ball from the outset. 9:03 remaining now as Guy prepares to kick off. They had the ball for 10 plays, covered only 24 yards.
Long drive for an easy score.
And Ray Guy with a low bounding kick, which is bobbled by one of the upmen, tight end Bob Brewer, who then laterals it back to the rookie James Owens. And Owens out of UCLA gets to around the 23 or 24-yard line, and that's where San Francisco will set up.
You know, Bob, so many times on a low kick like that, the coverage will generally converge on the ball, and with the pass back, you can get a quick score because the coverage loses the football and is tossed back to another guy, and he finds room to run. That time it was covered very well by Oakland.
Steve DeBerg, in his third year out of San Jose State, has completed 62% of his passes for 11 touchdowns. He's had 14 intercepted. On first down, his handoff is to O.J. Simpson. Simpson, a surprise starter. Had not started last week. They used Paul Hofer ahead of him, even though O.J. was healthy. He was stopped on that play by Dave Pear.
That was a fine call. San Francisco being a passing team, they start the game with a draw. It opened up well.
And there's the look at the stats which we gave you earlier on the scoring drive by the Raiders. O.J. got about 6. Second down and 4 with 8:22 remaining in the first quarter. O.J. and Wilbur Jackson are the running backs. This is Jackson trying to go outside. Monty Johnson and Lester Hayes converge on him and stop him for a loss.
Wilbur Jackson, guys.
The 49ers, being the passing team that they are, in most cases a club that gets a lot of yardage through the air. They start a ball game running the ball, trying to see if they can make some yardage, and also they can stop that rush just a little bit.
Dallas got a field goal late. The Giants really threw a scare into them at the Meadowlands, but the Cowboys prevail 16-14. Third down and 5. They bring in a fourth down lineman, Reggie Kinlaw, abandoning the 3-4 in this situation, and a fifth defensive back, Charlie Phillips. Wilbur Jackson fumbles the exchange, loose football, and the Raiders have it. So everything has gone Oakland's way. First they got the 75-yard kick return to start the game from Brunson. Now Wilbur Jackson coughs the ball up on an attempted third down carry. And after everybody gets off the pile, we'll see who gets credit for the recovery. Monty Jackson, we believe, the former Ram, was the guy who pounced on it.
Well, there's an example of why they... All right, let's take a look here. Just a reverse pivot handoff here to Jackson. He just lost the ball. Looked as though he didn't have the handle on it. The handoff was there. Jackson just lost it. Now there's an example too, Bob, of why the 49ers are 1-8. They've lost the ball too many times and haven't been able to take it away with their defense.
Wilbur Jackson gave it up. Monty Jackson recovered it. And once again, the Raiders are knocking on the door. Stabler wants to go for it all right now for the end zone. Branch juggled it, and even though he caught it, he was out of bounds.
He bobbled the ball just as he was going out. If he would have had the handle the first time, he probably would have come down with a touchdown. Good call by Stabler.
Branch caught that ball out of bounds.
A little play action here. Stabler, one of the best. He splits the seam on the right side with Branch. The safety was a little slow getting over. And that's what can happen. Let's get Branch if he comes down with the ball.
One in and one out.
1 and 1.
You can bet Branch wanted that one. A man who scored 13 touchdowns in 1974, 12 in 1976, but has not caught a touchdown pass this season, and as a matter of fact has scored only once in the Raiders' last 24 games. Derek Johnson hit, and he loses the football. Gerard Williams pounces on it, and the teams exchange turnovers. The 49ers have it back as Williams makes the big play.
The ball looks like a hand grenade out there.
We've got 7:17 to play in the first, and it's still 3-0 Raiders.
Well, let's take a look at this handoff from Stabler to Jensen. They always say when you run into a crowd, put 2 hands on the ball. Let's take a look right here. He twists and is knocked out there by 75 Vincent. Got to hold on to that football.
So the 49ers have unenviable field position, but they're happy to have the ball back in any event. Raiders doing a lot of juggling on defense as O.J. Simpson carries on first down and can't turn the corner. No gain for O.J. Dave Pear was the first man to hit him. 2/3 of the defensive line in Oakland's 3-4 alignment. Former Tampa Bay Buccaneers, both Dave Pear and Pat Toomey were obtained in deals with the Bucs. Dave Browning, a second-year man out of Washington, the other down lineman. The starting linebackers are Ted Hendricks. There's Hendricks, number 83. Monty Johnson and Phil Villapiano on the inside. Rod Martin on the outside. In the secondary, Lester Hayes and the former Ram Monty Jackson, who made the fumble recovery a moment ago, are the starters at the corners. Jackson starting ahead of the rookie Henry Williams, who had played the past few weeks while Jackson had an injured knee. Whistles and flags all over the place. The play will not count. They blew it dead before DeBerg released in the direction of Mike Schumann. The safeties for Oakland to complete their defensive alignment are Mike Davis, the strong safety, and Jack Tatum is the free safety. Monty Johnson apparently jumped offside, and the call will go against Oakland. The Raiders really are showing young Steve DeBerg a lot defensively. People jumping in and out. It's tough to read.
Encroachment, defense, first down, second down. Well, let's take a look at it here, Bob. This was good on DeBerg's part. There's Johnson, as you mentioned, jumping off sides. Good voice inflection by DeBerg, and then it's good that he carried the play out, because if they complete it, they get a touchdown.
They pick up 5 yards on the penalty. Second down and a short 6. Ken McAfee in motion. The give to O.J. Running room quickly closes up. Monty Johnson was there to hit him, along with Rod Martin, the outside linebacker.
That's the kind of play you have to beat a 34 defense with. A little misdirection counter play. Send one back one direction. Simpson comes back against the grain. Oakland played it well. Well, let's take a look here. There's the misdirection. One back to the right. Simpson back to the left side. But look how sandwiched it can get real sticky real quick.
Starting out on both their possessions deep in their own territory, the 49ers have tried to establish some kind of running game against Oakland. But the Niners are not the greatest running team in the NFL. They gain most of their yards through the air, but not this time, as DeBerg's pass is incomplete. Intended for his tight end, Paul Seals.
Well, they were going to the right guy there, Bob. Seals was open in the seam of the zone, but the ball was thrown a little too high.
That'll bring Dan Melville on for the punt. The deep man is Ira Matthews, who electrified the people here in Oakland a few days ago when he ran one back 104 yards on a kickoff against San Diego.
And he's leading the league, the National Football League, in kickoffs return with a 29.3-yard average.
Dan Melville averaging about 38 yards a kick, and standing inside his own 5 where he jumbles it, but gets it away. Matthews lets it bounce, a Raider bounce. The entire first quarter has been played in San Francisco territory, and it'll be first down Oakland at about the 40-yard line of the 49ers. 5:37 remaining in quarter number 1. Still 3-0 Raiders. Oakland ball at the 40-yard line. This has to be a quarterback's dream. Kenny Stabler has had the right field position throughout this first quarter. Tonight on CBS, start your evening with a brand new edition of 60 Minutes, the CBS News weekly magazine. Then the cook starts dishing out the comedy at Archie Bunker's place. The laughs continue on one day at a time, followed by Alice, the Jeffersons, and then a special edition of CBS Reports as we focus on the presidential candidacy of Ted Kennedy. That's tonight on CBS.
This is a heck of a place to be starting another drive from, Bob, because now Stabler can do almost anything he wants. Screen, draw, reverses. If they have any trick plays, this is the time to use them.
The 49ers started the day a game back of Denver and San Diego in the AFC West. The Broncos and Chargers at 6-3. Oakland, after a slow start, bouncing back to 5-4. At last report, San Diego was leading Kansas City. Denver's game with New Orleans started just about the same time as this one. Stabler will throw on first down. Locks the screen out to Van Egan. Plenty of blockers in front of him, and Mark is inside the 30-yard line before being brought down, and that will be a Raider first down. Ron Schumann made the tackle.
Well, Stabler got nicked just a little there, but there's your screen pass.
Gain of 11 yards for the play, first and 10.
Here's the screen pass. Now the quarterback has to be a decoy, setting up and now dropping back, throwing off to his left. He took a shot by Vincent. And upfield you go behind 3 pretty big people. There's Gene Upshaw, number 180 today, 180th game in a row.
Upshaw has never missed a game in his 13-year NFL career. At age 34, he's still going strong. That's Derek Jensen in motion. The pitch back to Mark Van Egan. Van Egan with running room is inside the 25 before being upended. He has rushed for 1,000 yards in each of the last 3 seasons. The only back in Raider history to do that. He's on his way to doing it again this year. Came into the game with 532 yards, and as you can see, you seldom separate him from the football.
Well, Oakland's in a good position again. Here they are, 2nd and 5. They can go play action, or they can stay on the ground. It puts quite a load on that 49er defense.
Clock moving with 4:20 to play in the first quarter. Stabler gives to Van Egan. Van Egan bursting through a big hole for another first down. Willie Harper, the veteran linebacker, finally stopped him with help from free safety Tony Dungy.
Tony Dungy.
Well, let's watch it here. There's Jensen right over the blocks of Upshaw and Art Shell. Very good play. Oh, that's Van Egan following Jensen's block.
Coming into the game, Van Egan needed only 7 carries to break the all-time Oakland record for most rushing attempts, which had been held by Clem Daniels. So Van Egan is closing in on that right now. The Raiders are 1st and 10 from the 15. Derek Jensen is stopped in a hurry as the 49ers hold a team meeting on his body.
Well, they had Van Egan out in front of Jensen that time. 49ers played it well on the left side. Archie Reese, 78, making the stop.
This telecast presented by authority of the NFL, and it's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Oakland Raiders and the NFL is prohibited. 2nd and 9 from the 14. Dave Dalby getting set to snap it back to Kenny Stabler. And Stabler pitches it back to Van Egan. They try and follow the left side of that line with Art Shell and Gene Upshaw. Gerard Williams got through from his right cornerback spot to make the stop.
Well, I'll tell you, they pitched that ball back to the fullback.
Gain of 6 yards.
Let's take a look at this little pitch sweep back to the left side. Looks like a herd of buffalo with Art Shell and Upshaw coming around. They've done this for many years. Boom. Upshaw looking for somebody to hit. Fine play by Shell and Upshaw.
3rd and 4 from the 9-yard line. Branch is wide to the right. 2 tight ends on the left side. Stabler throws to the end zone. Quick Branch touchdown. Branch's first touchdown of the season.
Boy, Branch had Charles Cornelius on an island that time. Took him inside and took it back out to the corner. Stabler very proficient today thus far. Looking downfield, looking away from his receiver, goes to Branch, who's running a corner pattern. He had him beat, and you got to have time to throw the ball. That's what makes Stabler great.
For Kenny Stabler, touchdown pass number 13 on the season. He came into the game completing almost 60% of his passes this year. Reach for the point after. He's been successful on 22 of 25, and now it's 22 of 26 as the 49ers block it.
Ball looked a little low, Bob.
Bob Martin, I believe, was the guy who got in and blocked it. And it's 9-0 Oakland with 2:12 left in the first.
Next Saturday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, see the heavyweights in action in the World Powerlifting Championships, plus Part 2 of the Battle of the NFL Cheerleaders and the conclusion of the World Series of Poker. You'll say you saw it on CBS Sports.
The Muscle Men, the Beauties, and the Card Sharks. Next week at 3:30 Pacific time on the CBS Sports Spectacular. Glenville Elliott handles the kickoff by Ray Guy and brings it out to around the 16-yard line. So the story of the first quarter has been bad field position for the 49ers and great field position for Oakland.
And the throwing of Kenny Stabler.
You know, you mentioned Stabler. All of his 11 interceptions this year have been bunched into 4 games, and the Raiders have lost every one. In the 5 games in which he has not been intercepted, the Raiders are 5-0.
So what does that tell us?
That if he keeps the ball out of the hands of the 49ers secondary, the Raiders ought to win.
They ought to win.
There's a penalty on the play, and Oakland's going to kick it over again.
5-yard penalty with a re-kick.
You want to talk about contrasting statistics. Oakland, as you know, is always tough to beat at home. They're 4-0 here this year. The 49ers, on the other hand, have lost their last 14 road games, and that's just 2 short of the NFL record of 16 consecutive road losses set by the Bears between 1973 and 75. The 49ers have not won on the road since November 13th, 1977, when a Ray Wersching field goal beat the Saints in overtime at New Orleans 10-7.
Boy, that's a difficult thing to break, too, because you have it on your mind.
And a look at some finals. The Patriots continue to roll. They stopped Joe Ferguson pretty well today, apparently. Glenville Elliott at the top of your screen, and the rookie James Owens at the bottom. Ray Guy kicking now from the 30-yard line.
Well, he's quite a weapon in himself.
Again, it's a low kick. It's taken by one of the up men. Looks like Phil Francis with the ball out to the 40-yard line. So for the first time, San Francisco is in pretty good shape, and DeBerg has some room to do some things.
Should be interesting. I would expect him to come out throwing. They haven't had much success trying to run the football. Of course, they haven't had field position either.
Pittsburgh clobbers the Redskins 38-7.
Boy, Pittsburgh's going strong. They got everybody healthy for a change.
At last report, Bradshaw had thrown 4 touchdown passes in that game. Maybe he added to that total later, but he had at least 4. 1st and 10 from the 40. A minute 54 to play in the first quarter. DeBerg likes to throw a lot on first down, and he will this time. Out of the backfield to Wilbur Jackson. Jackson shaking off tacklers is into Oakland territory at the 33. Finally wrestled down by strong safety Mike Davis.
Boy, that's the kind of thing the 49ers do well. Coach Walsh has taught his quarterbacks downfield receiver covered, go to the back. Wilbur Jackson, as you see, that's number 28 for him today. Well, here's your play action. You get good field position, you can do a lot of things. Wilbur Jackson coming out of the backfield on a little delay pattern, letting the linebackers get deep. A lot of room. Uh-oh, bad tackle there. Bad tackle by Lester Hayes.
From the 33 with the clock running and showing 1:08 to play in the first, the 49ers, who trail 9-0, have a first down. They try and send Jackson outside, and the Raiders aren't fooled. Mike Davis again came up from his strong safety spot. Pat Toomey from his right end position helped him.
And Mike Davis stopped the play.
I think the 49ers are running just to try to keep Oakland honest, but they're not going to win with the run. They're going to have to win with the pass.
Gain of about a yard.
DeBerg passed for 348 yards in a loss last week against Chicago. Heartbreaking defeat. Bears won at 28-27. That was the highest total for a San Francisco quarterback since 1969, when John Brody had 356 against the Rams.
Against the who?
The Rams. Do you remember that game?
I remember that game.
How many did you throw for that day?
300.
Confusion along the 49er front line, and DeBerg decides it would be wise to call a timeout and go over and consult with Bill Walsh.
Boy, that's a difficult situation. It happens so many times when the coaches call the plays. You waste a timeout, which you might need down near the end of the half.
DeBerg, as we mentioned, leads the NFL in passes attempted and completed. And at his current pace, he would break the league records for both categories, which were established last year by Fran Tarkenton in his final NFL season.
You know what I like about DeBerg, Bobby, is he's had to come up the hard way. He's been knocked around quite a bit, but yet he keeps coming on.
Tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes and a focus on swine flu. You remember the shots that President Ford urged everybody to take? A lot of people thought they were safe and found out otherwise. So watch 60 Minutes for more on that tonight at 7 o'clock Pacific time on CBS. 2nd down and 8 from the 31-yard line. Offense has not been the problem for the 49ers in their 1-8 start. As a matter of fact, in the last 4 games, only one of which they have won, they have averaged over 400 yards in total offense for those games. Quick fake, DeBerg drops to throw and completes it to Freddie Solomon. For Solomon, his 47th catch of the season, and he leads the NFL in that department.
Well, let's take a good look here at Solomon, who is leading the National Football League. A fake draw by DeBerg, trying to hold the backers. Solomon coming across on a crossing pattern. Diagnosed very well there. And a fine tackle.
That was the last play of the first quarter. When we come back at the start of the second period, it'll be 3rd and 3, San Francisco at the Raider 26. They trail Oakland 9-0.
November 18th. Remaining seats are on sale.
Bill Walsh, he promised to bring offense to San Francisco. That promise has been fulfilled.
Boy, everywhere he's gone. Cincinnati with Anderson, Dan Fouts in San Diego, and now Steve DeBerg in San Francisco. What an offensive mind he must have.
If he can get the defense to go with it, the 49ers will be back in business. Right now, however, they're 1-8. On 3rd down and 3, they give it to Solomon coming around. This is a play which worked for a touchdown against Atlanta a couple of weeks ago. It went for 56 yards. This time they needed only 3 for the first down, and they got that.
That's a fine call on 3rd and 2. Solomon following the block of John Ayers, the left guard. Without him, he might not make it.
First down for the 49ers at their...
Here's a much improved ball player, Freddie Solomon. In college, he was a quarterback and actually has taken a few snaps in the NFL, and that's his secret dream, to play quarterback. But as a wide receiver, he had the rap of having bad hands. This year, he's held almost everything thrown his way.
Well, you can tell that by the number of catches he's made.
First and 10 from the 21. San Francisco looking to bounce back into the game after falling into a 9-0 hole. DeBerg throws long over the middle, nothing but black shirts there. But there's a penalty marker down and possibly a pass interference coming up against the Raiders. Monty Johnson doesn't agree.
Monty Johnson.
Well, they had Linville Elliott going down the seam there. He was being jockeyed just a tad. Had him man-on-man with a linebacker.
Let's see what referee Chuck Heberling says.
There is no fall. The ball could not be caught. Back here.
They dropped the flag, and now they say it's nothing.
Boy, that's a funny call. The ball could not be caught. Yeah, and that's a little difficult decision to make, I think. Suppose he's not jockeyed around. Let's take a little look here. There's a good shot of it. DeBerg drops back. Linville Elliott going down the seam. If he's not bumped, he might catch the football. Who knows?
Well, Johnson definitely jostled Elliott, but we've got 2nd and 10. DeBerg with time to throw over the middle, nearly intercepted by a diving Lester Hayes, who has picked off 5 already this year.
Well, they tried to go to Schumann on about a 12-yard curl pattern. He lost his feet, and the ball was thrown behind him.
The offensive line of the 49ers has done a good job this season. In his past 3 games, DeBerg has attempted a very high number of passes, 126, and yet in that span, he's been sacked only once, so they protected him well. Mike Schumann goes wide to the right. Freddie Solomon is the other wide receiver. 3rd down and 10. DeBerg rolling right to get away from some pressure. Reggie Kinlaw was applying some, and the pass incomplete, intended for Wilbur Jackson.
Boy, Monty Johnson was all over him like glue.
Wilbur Jackson. Monty Johnson.
Well, there's that 4-man pass rush by the Raiders. Been very significant in the last 4 weeks for Oakland. They've been putting a lot of pressure on the passer.
So on 4th and 10 from the 21, we'll see Ray Wersching for a 38-yard field goal attempt. Wersching is 11 out of 13 on the year, and he's made his last 7 in a row. Between the 30 and 39 this year, he's connected on 4 out of 5. Joe Montana holds. Ray Wersching boots. And it is good.
It is good.
14 minutes and 38 seconds to play in quarter number 2 in Oakland, and the Raiders' lead has been cut to 9-3. Next week on the Sports Spec, they'll pump some iron in the World Powerlifting Championships. The battle of the NFL cheerleaders epic continues. A roller skating relay this week, and the World Series of Poker. Conclusion of a 2-week series there. Some of the top poker players in the world competing. Cost you $10,000 to buy in, and that show will also feature a guest appearance by Kenny Rogers. Larry Brunson touched the football, and it goes out of bounds. That was not what he wanted to do. So Brunson, who was a hero the first time he handled the ball on a kickoff, running it back 75 yards, this time touches the ball, and it goes out at the Oakland 6. So they're backed up deep in their own territory.
That's a big break for the 49ers. They come off with a field goal, and now they come down and they have Oakland with their backs against the wall. They can hold them down here. They'll get good field position again.
And a look at Tom Flores, who took over this year from John Madden, who for so many seasons ran this Oakland club and ran it so well in the playoffs year in and year out.
He wasn't a bad quarterback himself.
Flores, you mean, not Madden.
Right, Flores.
Johnny would have been the world's biggest quarterback. Mark Van Egan runs into a stone wall, gains a yard, if that. Ted Vincent hit him first.
Well, that's the kind of play the 49ers have got to have out of that defensive front four.
We were talking about Oakland's record of success. They have had 14 consecutive winning seasons, and the only team in NFL history to exceed that mark was the Chicago Bears between 1930 and 1944, when they won 15 consecutive years over 500. Oakland might equal that mark this season. Van Egan again. And that's what they pay him to do. Not be flashy, but to carry the ball close to 30 times a game and to get those tough yards. He's a lot like a battering ram. They hand him that ball from tackle to tackle, but he can get outside. That was his 8th carry of the day, and he's passed Clem Daniels and is now the #1 ball carrier in terms of rushing attempts in Raider history. 3rd and 6 from the 10. Stabler back. His line gives him time out of that pocket. A first down completion. Raymond Chester takes it in, and the Raiders maintain possession.
You know, that 2 tight end formation makes it difficult on the defense, because what are you going to do? If you try to double cover somebody, then you're going to have a tremendous passing angle, because both tight ends are in an area to get open. Here it is here. Stabler straight back. Chester and Casper crosses deep. Chester underneath the linebackers, and he's open. I was going to say, which one of the tight ends do you go to, but you got Chester, and he's having a big day thus far.
The 49ers have allowed 62% of the passes against them to be completed. Only Seattle has allowed a higher percentage of pass completions among all NFL defenses, so that's definitely a 49er weak point. And when you consider the fact that Stabler is completing 60% of his throws, you know that the game plan includes plenty of footballs in the air today.
Have to take advantage of that, Bob. With the arm of a Stabler and the kind of protection he can get, you might as well go for it.
Last year, there was some criticism of that Oakland line, particularly the once fabulous left side of Art Shell and Gene Upshaw. But this year, they appear to have put that act back together, and Stabler is getting the time he needs. 2nd down, Derek Jensen. Trouble with the exchange, breaks a tackle. Another first down for the Raiders as he struggles across the 35-yard line.
Derek Jensen carries. Ted Vincent and Gerard Williams stopped him.
Out of the I formation, Stabler almost a miscue there. Jensen up the middle, plays off a block or tackle by Harper, and fine run there. He just made a lot of yardage on his own.
1st and 10 from the 37. Actually, the ball between the 36 and 37-yard lines. 11 and a half minutes to play in the first half. Stabler will throw on first down. And out of the hands of Derek Ramsey. Certainly not Stabler's fault. Ramsey couldn't hold on.
Took his eye off the ball. He tried to turn upfield a little too quick. Saw the defender coming and lost the ball.
Stabler's pass is intended for
Both Stabler and DeBerg like to throw a lot on first down. Was that something you like to do with the Rams and the Eagles, Roman?
Well, that's something that you tried to create throughout the ball game, because if you could develop a little bit of a running game, then you were real dangerous on first down, because you had the threat of play action.
The stats on Mark Van Egan so far: 11 carries for 41 yards. 2nd and 10 from the 37. They give it to Derek Jensen on a delay. Jensen finds daylight. He cuts outside, and he's dumped at the 45. He's about a yard and a half short of the first down. Charles Cornelius, the left cornerback, credited with the tackle.
Bob, getting back to the comment you made about Upshaw and the big guy Shell, Oakland is used to blocking for 4 to 5 seconds for Stabler, blocking without a whistle during practice, whereas most teams use a clock. And last year, Stabler wasn't getting that 4 seconds to throw the ball, and he got knocked around quite a bit.
And the St. Louis Cardinals come to life at the expense of the Minnesota Vikings. Putting it on the Vikes to the tune of 30-7 in the 4th. Van Egan needed a yard and a half and didn't get it on 3rd down.
Big play by Dan Bunce there.
Bunce along with Jimmy Webb on the stop. So we'll see Ray Guy in a punting role for the first time today. Guy, the 2nd leading punter in the NFL. Only Grump of Kansas City is ahead of him. Guy averaging 44.2 yards per punt.
Freddie Solomon and Tony Dungy.
Freddie Solomon and Tony Dungy are the deep men, standing at around the 10-yard line of San Francisco.
Nice thing about Guy is he gets the ball up high, too. Even though he kicks for distance, he gets great hang time.
He'll meet this one at about his 35. And it is a high spike spiraling kick, which Freddie Solomon takes at the 11 and goes down at the 12. Hardly worth the trouble.
That's true. You might see a lot of people starting to slide. The field is a little wet from rain last night.
A 44-yard kick for Ray Guy, just about his average. 9:49 to play second quarter, 9-3 Raiders.
Ooh.
I don't know if she took part in the battle of the NFL cheerleaders, but certainly she would have been a worthy contestant.
I agree wholeheartedly.
First and 10 from the 12-yard line of San Francisco for Steve DeBerg. And a first down handoff to Paul Hofer, who's seeing his first action from scrimmage today. He ran into the arms of Dave Pear. Hofer has been a very valuable man this season, both carrying the ball and catching it for the 49ers.
He's given them a different dimension. He has 26 catches coming into this ball game. That time, Monty Johnson got in the gap, stopped that play.
Second and 6 from the 16-yard line with 9 minutes and 15 seconds to play in the second quarter. DeBerg with a quick drop and throw for the sideline. Wide open is Freddie Solomon. He skips out of bounds, but not before he got enough yardage for the first down.
Well, it's difficult to stop a great receiver like Solomon, especially on the out pattern. That time DeBerg sprinted to his right, expecting a blitz up the middle, which gets him away from the pressure. Solomon with man coverage, tough to cover.
Well, we thank them very much for our welcome here in Oakland.
That's very nice.
Last week against Chicago, Freddie Solomon caught 8 passes, 2 of them good for touchdowns. He's caught a couple already this afternoon, bringing his league-leading total to 48. Hello, a fumble as he's hit, but he got it back. Ted Hendricks walloped Wilbur Jackson as soon as he took the handoff.
Boy, those are the kind that hurt for the rest of the week. He just smacked him down so easily. Hendricks, very strong from that linebacking spot. He's been playing too long.
Too long to suit quarterbacks like you.
That's right. Let's watch this. Little slant to Wilbur Jackson, and Hendricks on a blitz. He's lucky he didn't break a rib.
No gain, second down and 10. They let Paul Hofer try it. He finds a hole and gets across the 40-yard line for a first down.
Good call, good call. That's that influence trap right up the pipe.
Jack Tatum.
Watch the influence here. They fake to the fullback to the right side. Bring it back to Hofer coming down the slot. And they just split the 2 tackles.
Hofer lost his shoe in the process. He goes to the sidelines. Lenville Elliott is in to replace him. Out of the I formation, they pitch it back to Elliott. Elliott picking his holes and finding his way close to midfield before he's shoved out. As a matter of fact, he's into Oakland territory. Willie Jones pushed him out of bounds.
Now this is a tough play to run against a 34. A little pitch sweep. Rod Martin here misses the tackle, 53. Let's take a look here. This block right there, fine block, but there's Rod Martin, the linebacker, misses the tackle, which would have been thrown for a loss. And upfield for a big gainer for Linville Elliott.
He picked up 12 on the play. It's first and 10 with 7:47 to play in the second quarter from the 46-yard line of Oakland. DeBerg with time again. Quick flip out there to Freddie Solomon. And a gain of only a couple.
Now there's that crossing pattern we saw earlier. Solomon not getting much depth. Mike Davis put a shot on Solomon.
They'll give him a gain of only a yard on that play. So it's second down and 9. Sun is shining here in Oakland, although there are some ominous clouds out there on the horizon. It rained all day yesterday and was very overcast this morning before clearing up just prior to game time. DeBerg on a long count. Look out. Unloads under pressure, which is sometimes dangerous. He avoided the sack. Mike Davis was coming on a safety blitz and almost got it.
Well, that was good defensive recognition by DeBerg. They had both Tatum and Davis up there, the blitz. DeBerg audible off to a pass. And then Tim dropped out, but Davis came anyway. Here, let's take a look at it. Let's watch Davis come in from the right side of your screen, right there.
Go get it, Phil, baby.
Woo!
They drop out of the 3-4, go with 4 down linemen and a 5th defensive back in a 3rd and 9 situation from the 45-yard line. DeBerg. Over the middle, he's got his first down. Paul Hofer rambling deep. Down to the 10-yard line before Charles Phillips pulls him down from behind. And the 49ers are knocking on the door for what could be a go-ahead touchdown. They trail by 6.
The 49ers hit the one weakness of the defense. They put one of their better pass receivers on Rod Martin, number 53, who's a linebacker for Oakland. Take a look at it. Hofer coming out of the backfield, checks, goes down the left side, and Martin has to cover it. You'll see Martin trying to chase him down from behind right there on the left side.
Hofer caught one for a touchdown last week against the Bears. And on first down, Hofer carries. Down to about the 7-yard line.
Well, there's an example of coming with a play that's good for you. There's that influence trap again to Hofer. Well, look at Hofer. Here you go. There's a fake to the fullback. Hofer comes up the slot. A trap up the middle. And there's Jack Tatum, who does that so well from the safety position. One of the better safeties in football.
The veteran Phil Villapiano, 3-time Pro Bowl performer, also in on the tackle. The stats on DeBerg. 2nd down and 6 from the 7. They can get a first down at the 1-yard line. DeBerg lobbing it out and over the head of his intended target, Phil Francis.
Well, he had them both there. He had Bob Brewer, 82, the tight end, going to the corner of the end zone. If he could have saw him, he might have had 6. Little play action fake. There's DeBerg. He's probably thinking about that last one.
That's the toughest thing for a young quarterback to learn, how to pick out secondary receivers, isn't it?
It sure is, Bob. And their system, though, is built around looking for one receiver. If he's covered, going to the halfback or tailback. That's why DeBerg's sack ratio is so low.
Schumann wide right. Solomon wide to the left. 3rd and 6 from the 7. He's got time, but he does not have what he was looking for. He's got an interception by Lester Hayes. Lester Hayes with his 6th kickoff of the season.
Well, John Matusak was in the backfield creating some pressure, and that's a lot of pressure from the big guy who's about 6'9", 275. Here we go. Let's see if DeBerg can get it. He gets rid of the ball, but he overshoots the intended receiver. He didn't really have that much pressure. Fine defensive play.
Steve DeBerg intercepted for the 15th time this season. Oakland back in business, and tomorrow night on CBS, The White Shadow, as Coach Reeves' team learns a hilarious lesson in humility from none other than the Harlem Globetrotters. That's followed by MASH and WKRP in Cincinnati. And then gambling takes a special toll on Lou Grant. A great Monday night lineup on CBS.
Hey, Bob, San Francisco drove 81 yards, and then you have the ball intercepted. They had the ball 4 minutes and 16 seconds and come away with zip.
5:33 left until halftime. And Oakland, which had the ball in San Francisco territory throughout the first quarter, is backed up deep in their own territory for the 2nd consecutive possession as they start here. Dan Bunz made the stop on Derek Jensen.
Well, the 49ers defense now has to play tough. They can stop Oakland here, force them to punt, give their offense another shot.
Dan Bunz, one of 2 first-round draft choices the 49ers had a year ago. He has been in and out of their starting lineup. With Scott Hilton out for the season and on injured reserve with a shoulder separation, they've moved Bunz back in as the starting middle linebacker and shifted Ron Schumann to the left side. Mark Van Egan, only a couple of yards. 49ers think it's a fumble, and Ted Vincent thinks he can crawl to the goal line, all of which is incorrect.
Well, you know, that's been the biggest problem with the 49ers defense. They've had so many people in and out because of injury, because of other problems. They just haven't been able to settle on any one defensive platoon.
3rd and 6 at the 7-yard line, and this is not the most enviable position for a quarterback.
No, it's not, but a guy like Stabler, you never know what he's going to do. We might get a little play action fake.
Cliff Branch goes out wide to the left, only wide receiver, and their 2 tight end alignment. That's one of those tight ends, Dave Casper, who makes the reception for a first down across the 20. Gerard Williams got there for the tackle, but too late to prevent the catch.
Well, there's where the experience of a Stabler pays off. Makes no difference where he is, he's still going to throw the football. This time Casper is open in the zone as they double to his side, leaving Casper open or covered by a linebacker, which he's not able to do. Fine play by Stabler and Casper.
Does any tight end have better hands than Dave Casper?
I don't believe so, and as much as that, Bob, as he finds the open area so well.
First and 10 from the 21. Stabler wants to put it up on first down. Under a bit of pressure, he throws and almost intercepted. Charles Cornelius would have been home free for the 6 points if he could have held on.
He played that perfect. A comeback pattern to Cliff Branch, but it looked as though Cornelius was running the comeback. Stabler straight back, looks off, does well, plenty of protection. Gets a lot of zip on the ball, but Cornelius is running the pattern just a little bit better than Branch.
He could have walked to the end zone.
Oh, man. He just took his eye off of it.
The 49ers secondary has had only 4 interceptions this year, 3 of them by Gerard Williams. The other by reserve Melvin Morgan. Second and 10, the pitch back to Van Egan. Cuts through a hole and gets a few before being stopped.
Big block by Lawrence on Tim Gray, the strong safety of the 49ers.
Again, look out, he loses the football. And it pops into the hands of Gerard Williams. The 49ers have it back, and Williams decides it's time to go down as he's surrounded by black shirts. Dan Bunz, I believe, with the tackle, was the guy who forced it out of the hands of Casper. Maybe we'll get another look at it.
We also got holding by the Oakland Raiders, so I'm sure they will not take that penalty. They'd rather have the football. Now Stabler getting plenty of time. Casper on a delay from the right side here, coming across the middle.
Number 70, Oakland, decline. First down.
Oh, Casper just lost the ball. We talk about what great hands he has, and he just lost one.
Henry Lawrence, the guy we were talking about a moment ago, was the man holding for Oakland. Obviously, the Raiders decline the penalty and take the ball, trailing 9-3 with 2:53 to play in the first half, and they have first and 10 from the Oakland 38. DeBerg with a play-action fake. Rolling right, he flips it out to Wilbur Jackson. Jackson brought down by a combination of Ted Hendricks and Phil Villapiano.
Good call in there by the 49er coaches. They faked a reverse draw, isolating Jackson on Hendricks, and Hendricks being the aggressive linebacker, he took the fake, allowing Jackson to get the 10 yards.
Bill Walsh tries to figure out what to do next. 49er plays are called from the sideline. Do you think that's a good idea for a young quarterback?
Everybody seems to be doing it now, Bob, so as long as everybody's doing it, I guess you go with the trend.
Did you like to call your own plays, though?
Oh, yeah, I sure did.
A delayed handoff to Wilbur Jackson. Jackson gets to about the 20-yard line.
I think being able to call your own plays was one of the reasons that a lot of us became quarterbacks. The leadership value, the fact that you're doing more than just listening to somebody tell you what to do. Nowadays, though, even in high school and college, coaches are calling the plays, so I guess that's the way to go.
You know, you look at last year's 2 Super Bowl teams, and you can find an argument on both sides. Tom Landry calls them for Roger Staubach, very successful. Chuck Noll says, go ahead, you call them, to Terry Bradshaw, equally successful.
Right, I agree.
Second and 7 from just outside the 20. DeBerg under some pressure as he throws, but he finds his tight end, Bob Brewer. And Brewer is at the 7-yard line for a 49er first and goal.
A little turnout pattern by the tight end, Mike Davis, the strong safety, slip. The turf is a little slippery out there because of the rain. There's DeBerg dropping back. Bob Brewer, 82 on the right side of your screen on a out pattern or stop. Fine pass completion.
Next Saturday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, see the heavyweights in action in the World Powerlifting Championships, plus Part 2 of the Battle of the NFL Cheerleaders and the conclusion of the World Series of Poker. You'll say you saw it on CBS Sports.
A potpourri of poker, powerlifting, and pulchritude next week on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
Well, DeBerg is 7 out of 13, 106 yards with 1 interception.
from just outside the 7. It's 1st and goal. A touchdown and point after would give the 49ers the lead. Paul Hofer dives to around the 5.
Now you have to make a decision. You're 5 yards from the goal line or pay dirt. You have 3 downs to go. Are you going to run another one? I think you got to go with the pass.
Dave Browning went out a few plays ago with apparently an injured shoulder, and he's been replaced by the most imposing John Matuzak at 6'8" and 280.
That is imposing.
You wouldn't mind looking across that line at Matuzak, would you?
Oh, I tell you, I'd turn my head and go the other way.
2nd and goal from the 5. DeBerg hands off for the touchdown as bursting through is Phil Francis.
Well, there's that quick trap up the middle. Evidently, Oakland was thinking like me, look for the pass. As a result, the run was open up the middle, a trap up the middle.
Perfectly executed play. On the replay, let's look who got the key blocks.
Look at the blocks up the middle there. That's 68, John Ayers blocking to his right, and Fred Quill in the center, opening up that hole.
Now it's up to Ray Wersching to break the deadlock. The Raiders had a 9-0 lead. A Wersching field goal cut it to 9-3. The Francis touchdown has tied it at 9 apiece. And Wersching, who has hit 17 of 20 point afters, tries out of the hold of Joe Montana and hits it.
That one was a little low, too.
We have 1 minute and 21 seconds to play in the first half, and the 49ers have come back to a 10-9 lead. The Raiders have 1 minute and 21 seconds to work with, and that's just about all it took the 49ers to score from 38 yards away in 5 plays in 1.5 minutes. The 5-yard run by Francis capped it, and San Francisco has a surprising 10-9 lead. Larry Brunson plays the kick on a bounce across the 20 and dumped at the 22. They're obviously trying to keep the kickoffs away from Ira Matthews, although the first time they tried that, Brunson burned them for 75 yards.
That time was a fine tackle by number 58, Cercino of the 49ers.
1 minute 16 left. Kenny Stabler is as good at working against the clock as just about anybody.
It's going to be interesting to see what he does here. He'll probably continue to go with his game plan, going with the tight ends. Well, this time they've got 1 tight end out of there now, and they got 3 receivers.
Brunson is in. He was wide to the right, and it's Brunson they're trying for, and he's got it at the 30-yard line.
Brunson in the slot, upfield about 6 yards to the sideline. They get 6 yards and stop the clock.
2nd down and about a couple.
7 yards, 2nd down and 3.
They also have Rich Martini in there, number 89, playing a outside receiver.
Martini, a first-year man from Cal Davis, who tried out for the Raiders the last 2 seasons, cut in preseason both times, finally made it this year. The pass complete to Cliff Branch, who tried to make a move but was cut down. Charles Cornelius got the hand in there and tripped him up.
Well, they get their first down, a delayed pattern to Branch, letting the back clear out, coming down to his side. They get their first down.
And they stop the clock, using up a timeout with 1:01 left. As Tom Flores confers on the sideline with Kenny Stabler.
Well, what can Flores tell Stabler here? He's probably telling him, go ahead and call your own game.
Once again, tonight's CBS lineup. A special report on swine flu and the after effects of the injections which many people took to prevent it. That's on 60 Minutes. And Archie Bunker's plays One Day at a Time, Alice and the Jeffersons. Plenty of comedy there during that 2-hour span. And then a special edition of CBS Reports focusing on Massachusetts Senator Ted Kennedy and his upcoming presidential bid.
Well, the Raiders are in a good situation. They have 1 minute and 1 second left to go in the half. They don't really have to put the ball up deep. They can move the ball down, get a field goal, or even have time for a touchdown. You can look for them maybe to go to a screen or draw in this situation.
From the 37 of Oakland, the 3 wide receivers again are in there. Stabler steps up into the pocket, throws over the middle, and it's caught off the deflection by Dave Casper. And then he loses the ball. And pouncing on it is Bob Martin. Will they rule it a fumble? No, they say the play was dead and it belongs to Oakland.
Ron Schumann had it first. He was the guy that caught it for the 49ers and lost it back to Casper.
It went out of Schumann's hands into Casper's hands, out of Casper's hands on the fumble, recovered by Martin, but they say he coughed it up after the whistle. And now flags are everywhere.
49ers in the 3-4 defense now, trying to stop that long pass by Stabler.
Ball start, 66 offense.
Steve Sylvester was offside for the Raiders, and that will cost them 5.
Ball start, 66 offense, first down.
Stabler almost got a little too greedy on that play that Schumann missed the interception. They got lucky here.
They're down now to 37 seconds. They have a couple of timeouts left. First and 15 from the 47 of San Francisco. The 49ers lead at 10-9. Stabler throwing the home run ball for Cliff Branch. Pass interference coming up here. Cornelius ran right up his back at the 5-yard line.
Well, Cornelius lost the ball. He got beat by Branch. Stabler underthrew the ball. It would have been 6 anyway. But Cornelius is caught. Stabler has plenty of time. Only 3-man rush by the 49ers. He doesn't get as much on the ball as he'd like. Right here, Cornelius is already banged into Branch. Big break. 2 big breaks in this series for Oakland.
That stops the clock with 31 seconds left. The ball is set just outside the 5-yard line, and it's first and goal. They have plenty of time now. They can throw 4 passes into the end zone if they want to in the remaining 31 seconds.
Well, San Francisco's taking a timeout.
Stabler back. Some pressure on him. Rolls away from it. Flag is down. Into the corner of the end zone and broken up by Dwight Hicks, intended for Cliff Branch.
49ers had too many men on the field. They were trying to get a timeout, but they didn't. There's the experience of the old pro again.
12 men on field, defense.
That's the second time today that San Francisco has been guilty of that.
Well, Stabler didn't allow him to get the 12th guy off the field either. He went to his count a little quicker, and they get an easy 5-yard penalty, or half the distance to the goal.
They're going to go with 3 backs now. Booker Russell comes in to join Mark Van Egan and Derek Jensen, as again we listen to Chuck Eberle.
12 men on the field, defense. First down.
First and goal from the 3, 25 seconds left.
Look out for Casper.
They can keep it on the ground if they want to because they have timeouts remaining. And that's what they'll do. Mark Van Egan lunging to about the 1.
Well, they go to their strong side. Casper's lined up on the left. Art Shell and Gene Upshaw.
Give you an idea of the kind of tough short yardage back Van Egan is. He's gained over 1,000 yards each of the last 3 seasons, and yet in his entire career he's had only 7 games of over 100 yards. So he's grinding it out at 65, 70 yards a game. Regional coverage of the NFL next week on CBS. The Cardinals, who bounced back today with a big win over Minnesota, are in Washington. The Redskins will be licking their wounds after being clobbered by the Steelers. Tampa Bay at Detroit, and the Rams trying to put their act back together against the Bears in Chicago. Then later in the day, Minnesota and Green Bay, a Central Division battle. These 49ers go against the New Orleans Saints at the Superdome, and the Atlanta Falcons and the Giants. And the Giants certainly gave the Cowboys a scare today.
The Giants are coming back strong. The last 4 weeks, they've beaten a couple of contending teams in the Rams and Tampa Bay and almost whooped Dallas.
And, of course, all of the NFL action next week begins with the NFL Today pregame show with Brent, Jane, Irv, and Jimmy the Greek, and the commentary of Jack Whitaker here on CBS. From the 1-yard line, it's second and goal. Van Egan, he's in there.
You can almost bet they're going to run that left side. That's where their big people are. Casper's there again, Shell and Upshaw.
Well, it took Stabler about a minute after the kickoff to take them home for the go-ahead touchdown.
There it is. A slant off the left side to Van Egan. Look at that blocking in there by Upshaw, Shell, and Casper. And, of course, you had The back Jensen on the left side, too. Had a lot of people.
Jim Breach trying to tag on the 16th point. He had one blocked earlier. This time the snap is good, and so is the kick. So the Raiders have gone back in front 16-10 with 17 seconds remaining until halftime. Another look at the touchdown by Mark Van Eegen.
On the top of your screen, you see Jensen, the halfback, lined up in the slot or on the wing. Just a big hole there.
For Van Eegen, his 6th touchdown of the season.
Money ball player, as you were mentioning, Bob. Not a lot of 100-yard games, but quite a number of 3, 4, 5-yard bursts through the line.
We mentioned the contrasting statistic a moment ago about how well Oakland does at home and how poorly the 49ers have done on the road, losing their last 14 road games. Here's another one. The 49ers are 0-2 against the AFC this season, 12-17 overall against AFC teams. Oakland, on the other hand, has won 18 of their last 19 meetings with NFC clubs, as we look at Bill Walsh pacing the 49ers sideline. And overall, the Oakland Raiders are 23-5-1 against the NFC, and only Miami has a better mark than that, and just barely so. Miami is 24-5 against the NFC.
Well, maybe the NFC's lucky that Oakland is not over there, because then they would be winning all the time. Nobody else would.
It took Kenny Stabler 1 minute and 4 seconds to take his team 77 yards, and the key play was the pass interference call against Charles Cornelius down on the 5-yard line as he climbed up the back of Cliff Branch.
There's the kind of thing you like to see, too. You got number 84, Derek Ramsey, who is a fine tight end for Oakland, going down on special teams. You have to have your good athletes on those special teams.
Jim Breach is kicking off, and he's not doing it very well. It rolls out of bounds around the 30-yard line. Ray Guy had been the kickoff man, and Guy, who normally booms them, was not doing so today, so they went to Breach for that kickoff.
Yeah, a little bit of it seemed to rub off on Breach as he does the same thing Guy does. Of course, they're trying to kick it short to keep the 49ers from a return, but they kicked that one too short.
Since nobody touched it, the clock did not move at all. Still 17 seconds left.
Well, let's see if he tries to boom it this time. '49ers could get a good return here and still put 3 points on the board.
Jim Breach at 5'6" and 155. In his first full NFL season out of the University of California, drafted last year by the Lions in the 8th round and cut during the preseason. Picked up this year as a free agent by the Raiders. James Owens trying to bring it back, and Owens is breaking it. 10 seconds left as he cuts across the 40. Down to the 30 to 25-yard line with 5 seconds remaining.
He lost the ball. He fumbled the ball.
I don't believe it. I do not believe it.
And number 46 for Oakland recovered that football.
Todd Christensen, the former Dallas Cowboy, a reserve running back who sees most of his action on special teams.
Owens probably should have gotten out of bounds because he wasn't going to go all the way. He had a couple of Oakland guys in front of him. There it is right there. And Derek Ramsey's the guy that causes the fumble. He takes it out of his hand right there. There's the ball. And watch Christensen.
The ball almost gets out of bounds, but Christensen cradles it just before it goes out. As Owens was racing downfield, I kept watching the clock, hoping for his sake that he'd get out of bounds or be tackled before time ran out. Mark Van Eegen carries, and the half comes to a close.
That was a super return by Owens.
So the Raiders jumped out to a 9-0 lead. San Francisco came back, a Wershing field goal, and later a touchdown to go in front 10-9, and then Oakland in the last minute and a half marched down the field in a hurry. Mark Van Eegen scored, and they have a 16-10 halftime lead. Still within striking distance, certainly, are the San Francisco 49ers, and Steve DeBerg has shown, even though his club is 1-8 so far, has shown an ability to bring them back in game after game.
He sure has, Bobby. They could have gotten 3 points there, though, if Owens don't fumble that kickoff. It's a bad break for the 49ers.
Back in Oakland, Bob Costas, along with Roman Gabriel. A surprising first half in a number of ways. Oakland jumped out like they were going to dominate. San Francisco showed resurgence, came back, took a 10-9 lead. Then Oakland put it together for a late drive, and they're up 16-10.
Well, Bob, the interesting thing is that Oakland comes and takes advantage of field position, which the 49ers were giving them, but yet the 49er defense, which is the weak point, they hung in, and now we have a close ball game.
Now, you got Steve DeBerg. Last week against Chicago, his team was down. He brought them back continually. Even though they lost at 28-27, he had them knocking on the door, impossible field goal position, before an interception thwarted them at the end. So he has the capability of doing it.
That's true, and the game is long from being over. Both clubs with Stabler and DeBerg, the kind of passing that we can see here, there could be a lot more points put on the board in the second half.
We're getting ready for the start of the third quarter in Oakland. The 49ers trail the Raiders by 6, and we'll be back in just a moment. The preceding announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. Oakland by 6 as we prepare to start the third quarter. And do the halftime stats tell you anything, Roman?
I'll tell you what, Bob, here's probably the most glaring thing that faces me is Oakland has made 6 out of 8 third down situations, which is 75% of the time. San Francisco 2 out of 6, which is 33% of the time. That's probably one of the big keys in the first half.
As far as the quarterbacks are concerned, Steve DeBerg, you see him there, hit 7 of 13, had 1 intercepted, 106 yards in passing offense, did not throw for a touchdown. Kenny Stabler, 9 of 13, no interceptions, and 1 of his went for a TD to Cliff Branch.
Not much difference between the quarterbacks. The difference in yards rushing, 49ers 56, and Oakland has 91.
58 of those 91 yards belonging to Mark Van Eegen, who might be on his way to a 100-yard day. He's carried 16 times already. Top pass receivers, Dave Casper has caught 4 for Oakland, Freddie Solomon 3 for San Francisco. It's San Francisco ball as the half begins with Lenville Elliott fumbling on the kickoff return. The 49ers have been fumbling the ball all day long. Now let's see who comes out of the pile with this one. Oakland does.
Boy, that's a tough way to start the second half. Now, this is the kind of thing that's been hurting the 49ers prior to this ball game. They are a -7 in the turnover department.
The second half begins just the way the first half ended. James Owens fumbled at the end of a long kick return, which took them out of a possible field goal right at the conclusion of the first half. Now at the start of the second, Lenville Elliott coughs it up, and it's Ira Matthews who makes the recovery for the Raiders.
That was number 38 coming across field there. Rufus Bess knocking the ball out of his hand.
Raiders have it at the 49er 22. Stabler goes to the air. Mark Van Eegen has the catch. Van Eegen down to the 10-yard line for a first down.
Good call. Come out of the chute with a pass. A little check down. Van Eegen blocking for a second in the backfield, letting the linebackers get into underneath coverage. Watch Van Eegen go to the right, check his responsibility, and come over the middle. Stabler very keen at this kind of play.
The fumble by Elliott was the 4th by the 49ers today, and the 3rd one they've lost. On the other hand, Oakland hasn't been completely flawless either. They've fumbled and lost it twice. Mark Van Eegen, who seldom fumbles, holds on to the ball, but doesn't have much more than that. Back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, you know, Bob, talking about the turnover department, we mentioned the 49ers coming into the game were a -7, whereas Oakland was a +11, which is a difference in their records.
Well, DeBerg has had 1 pass intercepted, and they've lost 3 fumbles, so they've been guilty of 4 turnovers already today.
And their defense doesn't take anything away, so it's difficult for the offense to generate.
Yeah, they themselves have had only 4 interceptions in 9 games this year. 2nd down and 10. Mark Van Eegen trying to slash his way through, but the 49ers were waiting for him. He gets to about the 8-yard line. Technically, they can get a first down, judging by where the sticks are. They can get a first down inside the 1-yard line, but for all practical purposes, it's 3rd and goal from the 8.
Boy, those cornerbacks have to be brave. Not only do they have to cover one-on-one, that time Gerald Williams came up and met the block of Art Shell, who goes about 285.
Dave Dalby bends over the ball at center, and Kenny Stabler drops back. Throwing for Cliff Branch, and Branch has his 2nd touchdown of the day. So Branch, who had gone through a season-long scoring drought, has found pay dirt twice in this ball game against the 49ers.
I could almost almost be called a pick as Matthews came out of the backfield, and Gerald Williams lost his man. Branch was wide open. Look at Stabler. He's happy. Let's take a look. Matthews comes out of the left side of the backfield, going to the corner. Branch comes underneath. Right there, you can see the pick of defensive lineman. Vincent trying to cover Matthews, 43. I don't understand that defense.
So Kenny Stabler has his 14th touchdown pass of the year, his second today, both of them to Cliff Branch.
Wonder if we could get another shot of that.
It took the Raiders only 2 minutes and 2 seconds of the second half to increase their advantage to 22-10. And now Jim Breach will come on for the extra point try. Here it is, Roman.
All right, let's take a look here. We see the fine blocking up front. We got a safety blitz coming in, and we got Vincent, a defensive tackle, isolated on a tailback. And then he ends up screening. Well, watch Dalby, 50. Pass, but there's Harper coming from the left side, picked up that by Van Egan very well. Cedric Harmon's taken out the play. There's the safety, number 30, Gray. So the isolation worked. Quite a play, quite a play.
And there's Gerard Williams on the sideline. I don't know if he was shaken up on the play or if they're just consoling him over the trouble he might have had on the coverage.
Well, you know what looked as though happened when Vincent, 75, the tackle, he got peeled off on Gerard Williams, and Williams sort of smacked into him. Didn't see him coming. Probably got a headache.
I'm sure you all remember the swine flu scare of a few years ago and the shots that President Ford urged everybody to take. Well, a lot of people thought they were safe, and it turned out that they weren't, at least not 100%. Watch 60 Minutes tonight for an update on that swine flu situation at 7 o'clock Pacific time here on CBS.
Hey, Bob, I think now I've been able to decide what happened on the play. Vincent has moved in for Hardman, and on that particular defense, when a safety and all the backers come, they try to cover the back with the defensive end, and that was Vincent's man, and there's just no way he could cover it. The Raiders had the right play at the right time. Chalk one up for Stabler.
The 2 kick return fumbles have turned this game completely around. If Owens holds on at the end of the first half with the kind of place kicking year that Wershing is having, it's a pretty good bet that this game is 16-13 at the half. And then if Elliott doesn't fumble at the start of the third quarter, even if the 49ers don't go on to score themselves, it's still a 3-point game. Instead, Breach is trying to make it a 13-point differential if he hits this, which he does barely so. It was fading off to left on him, but he snuck it through the uprights. So with 12:58 left in the third period, it's Oakland 23 and San Francisco 10.
Next Saturday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, see the heavyweights in action in the World Powerlifting Championships, plus Part 2 of the Battle of the NFL Cheerleaders and the conclusion of the World Series of Poker. You'll say you saw it on CBS Sports.
The Sports Spectacular airs at 3:30 Pacific time next Saturday on CBS. Jim Breach getting set to kick off. James Owens is one of the D-men waiting at the goal line. Paul Hofer is the other. It's Owens who takes it down around the 1, 15, 20, 24-yard line, and that's all.
He almost lost that ball. He was hit real hard. A good shoulder tackle.
James Owens, the rookie from UCLA, had been used on both offense and defense. Offense as a wide receiver, defense as a free safety by Bill Walsh earlier this season. But Walsh says that as of this week, he is solely an offensive player. And there's the stats on the drive, which the Raiders took to a 23-10 lead. Concluded with the 8-yard pass to Cliff Branch from Kenny Stabler. 1st and 10 from the 24. San Francisco's first play from scrimmage in the second half is a completed pass to Wilbur Jackson, who's promptly wrapped up by Lester Hayes, and Jackson doesn't like the fashion in which Hayes did it.
Well, Lester Hayes was put in the right position by the defense. That time they had a corner zone. Hayes rolls up to cover the flat, and he just smacked Wilbur Jackson. That's part of the game. Watch Lester Hayes here. He just kissed him real good right there. A little wrestling match. And then, of course, Ted Hendricks came over to finish him off.
I don't think Jackson appreciated that part of it either.
He hit the wrong guy. Hendricks is the one he wanted.
Not really, if you realized who it was. 2nd and 7 from the 27. Clock moving, exactly 12 minutes to play, third quarter. DeBerg has time, and over the middle he's got Paul Hofer. Hofer just runs right between two tacklers and gets out to the 44-yard line for a San Francisco first down.
Well, we understand that Williams is a bit woozy and might not be back in that 49er defense. That time, Hofer, again, isolated on a linebacker, and it's difficult for a linebacker to cover a good running back.
That's Gerard Williams that Roman was referring to. There's Phil Villapiano. 9-year veteran out of Bowling Green. First and 10 from the 43, they call it. The handoff goes to Hofer, and Hofer gets about 3 yards to the 46 before Dave Browning, who's back in the lineup now after sitting out a while with an injured shoulder, makes the tackle.
Well, that's the play the 49ers had success with in the first half, that little counter trap up the middle. Browning shut it off, though, coming from his left defensive end position.
O.J. Simpson, he started the game, but since the first couple of series, we haven't seen him.
It's hard to believe he's played 10 years. What a running back he is.
O.J. averaged about 4.5 yards per carry through the first 5 games of this year, but in his last 3 games, he's averaged only 2.4. So his performance has fallen off, and so is his playing time. DeBerg unloads, and a diving catch over the middle by tight end Bob Brewer.
DeBerg's pass is caught by Bob Brewer.
Mike Davis, the strong safety, there too late on the coverage. Another San Francisco first down.
Bob, that time Hendricks blitzed from the outside, and Villapiano came on an inside blitz, leaving that area of the field open for Brewer. DeBerg right on the money.
Steve DeBerg has attempted by far the most passes of any quarterback in the NFL. Dan Fouts is the only guy even close, and coming into today's action, he was about 50 passes behind DeBerg, who will throw again, and this time he wants everything for Freddie Sullivan, broken up in the end zone.
Monty Jackson.
First pass, definitely Freddie Sullivan, broken up by Monty Jackson.
Monty Jackson just barely getting there in time as Solomon had him beat deep. That time the Raiders were in another blitzing situation, bringing Villapiano and Hendricks.
Monty Jackson has been bothered by a knee injury some this season, and Henry Williams, a 6th-round draft choice out of San Diego State, a rookie, had been starting ahead of him, but Jackson reclaimed his starting job today. There's a penalty here against the 49ers. My guess would be holding. Bill Walsh obviously not thrilled.
Holding, offense, number 67, first down.
Ron Singleton held on the play. That makes it 1st and 20, so even if DeBerg had hit Solomon with the pass, it would have been all for naught.
Oh, it's difficult to understand how they can call holding anymore with the new rule changes.
DeBerg to the air again. They're coming after him. He manages to get rid of it. Francis, who scored the touchdown earlier, fumbles as he's hit. Black shirts all around it. And it will be Oakland's football. The 5th 49er turnover. 1 of them a DeBerg interception. 4 of them lost fumbles. Monty Johnson was the man who forced the fumble, and Monty Jackson the man who recovered it. Mike Wallace, Dan Rather, Morley Safer, and Harry Reisner are warming up for 60 minutes, which leads off the evening lineup on CBS, followed by Archie Bunker's Place, one day at a time, Alice, the Jeffersons, and then a special edition of CBS Reports as we focus on Massachusetts Senator Edward Kennedy and his upcoming try for the presidency. Mark Van Eegen carries on first down and gets about 5.
Van Eegen, the ball carrier.
Well, Gerard Williams is not in the ball game. They have number 46, Melvin Morgan. Look at this shot.
Personal friend of yours?
Santa Claus comes early.
The clock is moving with 9:20 to play in the third quarter. We'll call it 2nd down and 6, giving Van Eegen 4 on the last carry. Stabler brings it around to Clarence Hawkins, making his first appearance. But the 49ers weren't really fooled. Ted Vincent made the stop, and it'll be third down coming up. Third down and about 4.
Boy, that's great pursuit by the big man, Ted Vincent, coming from his right end position, chasing that play down.
Third and 3 for Oakland at their 47.
Third down, and we'll call it a long 3 here. Clarence Hawkins, who carried on that play as a rookie out of Florida A&M, plays mostly on special teams. That was his first play from scrimmage in this game. Stabler sprinting out to his left and throwing on the run for a first down. Raymond Chester with the catch. Chester in San Francisco territory at the 36.
Did you see the formation they were in that time? Stabler sprints out to his left. He's got Casper lined up behind Chester here on the left side. They'll come back to this because Casper's open behind Morgan right there. They go to the open guy too. They had 2 people open. First time we've seen that formation.
They spot the ball at the 37-yard line. We're inside 8 minutes to play in the third quarter. Oakland 23, San Francisco 10. And Stabler wants to keep it in the air where he has had great success. Time to throw over the middle. Leaping catch, Raymond Chester. Chester at the 20-yard line as he caught it in between 3 San Francisco defenders.
If Chester don't catch it, Casper does. Casper's wide open right behind Chester. Willie Harper makes the tackle. Take a good look at this. Chester comes down across the middle from the tight end position on the right side. Casper's right behind him on the left side.
Kenny Stabler, the leading percentage passer in NFL history at 59.7%, tops of all time.
Well, there's a job by Gene Upshaw and Dave Dalby.
They go with the run on first down, and Van Egan powers his way for about 3 before they push him back.
Difficult to stop an offense like the Raiders whenever Stabler's on the money and they're able to move the ball on the ground. 49er defense kept off balance all day long.
6:45 to play third quarter. Second and 7 from the 17. If they come out of this with 7 points, the 49ers are in real bad shape.
Well, Bob, here's that formation with Chester at tight end and Casper right behind him on the right side.
Stabler dropping, pumping, loves to do that, unloads, nobody there. Cliff Branch, I guess, the closest to it.
Yeah, Branch looked as though he might have been open. Casper fell down, turning to come across the middle, and just as the ball was released.
There's Clarence Hawkins, 26, standing next to Stabler. And here's Dave Casper's pass route.
Just as the ball's released, Casper slips. Oh, he took a shot from Cornelius. Look out. Little guy hitting a big guy like that could get in trouble.
Third and 7, big play for the San Francisco defense. Stabler again with time to throw. Picks his receiver out and hits him as a flag flies. Dave Casper made the catch.
Pass interference on Gray there. He lost Casper and tried to hold him. Casper's too big to hold. He's like a big horse with hands.
The catch was for almost exactly the amount of yardage they needed for the first down to the 10-yard line. And now Chuck Heberling will inform us officially about the penalty.
We have tripping against number 63 on offense. We have defensive holding, number 30 on defense. Offset, same down.
Well, a break for the 49ers, offsetting penalties.
All right, let's watch the pass interference. Casper going downfield is going to turn in. Gray right here has a hold of his shoulder pad, brings him down, but Casper's back up like a cat.
Somewhere elsewhere on the field, a Raider clipped on the play, so it's 3rd and 7 all over again.
They caught Gene Upshaw clipping.
Kenny Stabler, 13 out of 18. Hasn't missed many. Time to throw again all day. Into the end zone, intercepted by Charles Cornelius, who had some ideas about running it out and then thought better of it. The 49ers are still alive. They're within a couple of touchdowns. They still trail it 23-10 as Cornelius shuts off the Oakland drive. The first interception of the day against Stabler and the first interception of the year for Charles Cornelius.
Whenever Stabler lets this ball go, Chester's open, but Cornelius comes out of nowhere to make the interception. Big play by the 49ers.
Get the whole wheat working for you.
Get whole wheat Wheaties working for you. As for good nutrition, a Wheaties breakfast is hard to beat. You see, Wheaties is made from the whole kernel of wheat. You get not only the heart of the wheat, but the wheat germ and bran fiber, too. Don't shortchange your body. Get all the nutrition that comes from a good breakfast. Like a whole wheat Wheaties breakfast.
Get the whole wheat working for you.
Wheaties, the breakfast of champions.
Live from Laurel, Maryland, see the 29th running of the Washington, D.C. International. Post time is 4 p.m. next Saturday. You'll say, you saw it on CBS Sports.
Don't forget that D.C. International next week on CBS, and now Kenny Stabler to unload.
Don't tell me that the 10-year pro's not into this ball game. He thinks it's there, but then the interception, he's into this ball game.
Thought he had 6 when he first let it go, but Cornelius came off another receiver to make the interception, which quickly changed the reaction of Stabler. Dave Pear and Dave Browning combining on the stop against Paul Hofer.
Well,
6 minutes exactly left in the quarter, Roman.
Bob, talking about turnovers, the 49ers came into the game with 21 turnovers offensively, and they've had 5 this ball game, which gives them 26.
Second down, 6 yards to go from the 24. DeBerg barks the signals, drops back to throw. His line gives him time, and it's deflected and incomplete. Ted Hendricks got his hand in there. Hendricks is a big play kind of linebacker. He's had 3 safeties in his career. He's the all-time NFL block kick leader. He is among the top interceptors among active linebackers. He seems to always be there when a big play is needed.
Well, his size gets him into position along with his quickness. DeBerg tried to throw the ball over top of him. A normal linebacker, he might have done it, but Hendricks is 6'5", 6'6". Difficult to get the ball over his hands. Well, we got the 4-man rush and the 5 defensive backs in there now for Oakland.
On 3rd and 6. You see that the 49ers have lagged behind the Raiders in 3rd down efficiency. They try and cross them up with a run, and Hofer does just that. Paul Hofer has a first down and then some, leaping over a tackler, staying on his feet, down to the 30-yard line and about the 28 of Oakland.
Well, 49ers crossed him up. Oakland comes in expecting to pass. They go to a run, which so many teams do now against that type of prevent. They shut the outside off, and Hofer makes a fine run. Just a simple handoff, a sweep to the outside. They shut down the right side of Oakland's defensive line. Boy, they buried that guy. And there's McAfee making a fine block. Tatum, Lester Hayes.
Paul Hofer, an 11th round draft choice 4 years ago out of Ole Miss. Really establishing himself now with the 49ers. DeBerg throws, almost intercepted by Jack Tatum. Intended for Lenville Elliott, and Tatum had it in his hands and couldn't hold on.
Well, they had Elliott down there in about a 15-yard area. They flooded the left side of the field. Ball was thrown too high. Lenville Elliott, though, Johnny on the spot, prevents the interception. The 49ers need a score here, Bob. Get back in this ball game. 23-10 to score. They can put something on the board. They're still in it.
The run by Hofer a moment ago, officially 47 yards. 4:26 left in the 3rd quarter. DeBerg looking things over and throwing incomplete. Intended for Freddie Solomon.
Well, that's what you call forcing the ball. He really didn't have anyone to go to. He started to come inside, and that's where DeBerg threw the ball. Actually, Solomon ran away from the football.
Solomon has caught 3 passes today, but none of them for big yardage. On 3rd down and 10. DeBerg under pressure. Will they rule it a fumble, or was his arm moving forward? They rule it a pass, incomplete, 4th down coming up.
Well, they saved the sack. They say the best pass defense is a pass rush. Watch number 77, big Charles Fial's 296'9". It's difficult to throw. He has time to let it go. Matusak misses first, but not the big guy, the giant. Whew, that's a lot of meat.
Okay, here comes Ray Wershing. Wershing on the season is 12 out of 14, and he's made 8 in a row. They spot this one down at the 37-yard line, a 47-yard attempt, and Wershing is off target with it. A little short and wide to the right. The score remains Oakland 23 and San Francisco 10 with 4:10 remaining in the third quarter. Oakland gets the ball back after only the third missed field goal this year by Ray Wershing. Prior to that kick, Wershing had connected on 2 out of 3 beyond 40 yards. That was a 47-yarder and came up short.
So he was well within his range.
She seems pleased by the score so far at 23-10.
I wonder if she really knows what the score is.
Depends upon what the question is. The handoff to Clarence Hawkins, and Hawkins goes nowhere. Ted Vincent there to hit him.
I tell you, the 49er defense really hasn't done that badly in this ball game, especially with the amount of turnovers there have been.
2nd and 9 as the ball moves out to the 30-yard line.
Clarence Hawkins, the ball carrier. He gains a yard.
Clock is moving with 3:44 left in the third quarter.
2nd down 9 is the 30.
Stabler's stats. In their last game against San Diego, he had 13 of 17 for the game. He pumps, he throws. It was partially blocked. And Raymond Chester could not make the ankle-high catch on the play.
Stabler's pass deflected by Ted Vincent. Incomplete.
Ted Vincent deflected it.
He's having quite a ball game, Vincent is. Well, Vincent's coming out now. And they bring in another defensive lineman in his place.
Dwayne Board, number 76, is in with Vincent, the second-year man out of Wichita State, getting a break. Kenny Stabler back on 3rd down over the middle, and Raymond Chester makes the clutch reception again. Dan Bunds pounds the ground in disgust. He was there on the coverage, but not in time to break it up.
Well, it's difficult to cover a receiver like Chester, especially when he's running against linebackers. That time the 49ers doubled both sides. Here, let's watch Chester come into the void area running against linebackers, and Stabler right on the money. Harper trying to cover him. Also Bunce, and that's not Bunce's forte. Pass defense is not one of his better suits.
We move inside, 3 minutes to play in the third quarter. Mark Van Eegen gets the call and moves the ball out to the 46-yard line.
Well, Van Eegen now 22 carries for 70 yards.
Oakland, as we mentioned, is 4-0 this season here at the Oakland Alameda Coliseum, and they're historically very tough at home. Aside from the obvious psychological edge involved in playing before your home fans, does the natural surface make a difference for this Oakland team?
I would think so, especially when you're accustomed to playing. And this is a slow field. It's not a fast field.
Chicago, as you saw, with a big lead on the Lions at Soldier Field, 28-7 in the third. Dave Casper makes the catch at the 49 of San Francisco. Melvin Morgan and Ron Schumann hit him.
Again, Stabler, a fine call. Stabler, with his experience, expecting a zone defense, he got it, and he hits Casper right in the void.
Makes it 3rd down, a yard and a half to go for the Raiders at the San Francisco 49.
We're liable to see a lot of teams going to this 2 tight end formation.
They've got 3rd, and we'll call it 2. And they brought in a 3rd running back, Booker Russell. Mark Van Eegen stopped possibly short of what he needed for the first down. I think he is short.
Looked like Jimmy Webb was the first man in there to meet him. Number 74. Sort of a surprise. You need 3rd down yardage. You don't go to your left side where Upshaw and Shell are.
When they bring in Booker Russell as the 3rd back, they line Van Eegen and Russell up behind Stabler and put Derek Jensen, the other running back, in kind of a slot at the end of the line.
That way they hopefully create a lot of holes, and they balance the left and right side, because now your linebackers aren't too sure where the strong side is.
They are short by that much, says Chuck Eberling. And they bring punt, and the fans don't like it.
Well, Tom Flores seems to know what he's doing. Oakland's up 23-10, and he's being paid to make those decisions, not the fans.
Ooh,
Jets 24, Green Bay 22.
A couple of unpredictable clubs. Each has played both very poorly and very well at times this season. Guy's only punt went for 44 yards today, which is just about his average. Freddie Solomon and Tony Dungy wait for the kick. Some shifting along the Oakland line. What they're trying to do here, they'll take a delay of game penalty. What they were trying to do was cause some confusion and maybe get San Francisco offsides and get a cheap first down.
Delay of game, number 8.
And that works often. So many times in a ball game, you get somebody that's a little anxious. They draw them off sides and get an easy first.
The delay of game does not bother them at all. Freddie Solomon is nearest to you. Tony Dungy at the top of your screen. Actually, moving 5 yards further back probably gives Guy a better chance to drop it in the coffin corner now.
It does, because he has such great length on his punts.
1 minute and 1 second left in the third quarter. Good snap to Guy under no pressure. He angles it for the sideline and out of bounds. But not as deep in San Francisco territory as he had hoped. As a matter of fact, not even to the 20-yard line. They're going to spot it at the 27 of the 49ers.
That wasn't what he wanted. I'm sure he would have liked to have gotten about 15 more yards on that.
Only a 26-yard punt, uncharacteristic for Ray Guy. Tomorrow night on CBS, the Harlem Globetrotters pay a visit to Coach Reeves's club on the White Shadow. That's followed by comedy with MASH and WKRP in Cincinnati. And then gambling takes a special toll on Lou Grant. Monday night on CBS. 55 seconds to play third quarter from the 27 of San Francisco. The 49ers, who once held a 10-9 lead and now trail 23-10, go back to work. Freddie Solomon makes the catch, eludes Monty Johnson, cuts back, and has good yardage to around the 42 or 3 before Lester Hayes spins him down.
Lester Hayes stopped him.
Well, the 49ers trying to take advantage. 49ers taking advantage of the deep drops by the linebackers here. Solomon comes out to his left, cuts across the middle underneath the linebackers, or in front of the linebackers, makes a fine move here as he missed, as Monty Johnson misses, but not Lester Hayes.
Bill Walsh. We both said it. I defer to you, Mr. Gabriel.
Go ahead, Bob.
That was all I wanted to say. Just Bill Walsh. How are you, Bill? Nice to see you. Throwing deep. Steve DeBerg down the sideline and almost a leaping catch by Mike Schumann. Schumann made a great leaping catch late in the game last week against the Bears, which set the 49ers up at the 25-yard line of Chicago with about a minute to go and in position to win on a Ray Wersching field goal. But a moment later, a Doug Plank interception shut off that drive and sealed the victory for the Bears.
Well, that's a difficult thing to teach receivers, is to catch the ball at their highest point. In other words, if a receiver sees birds like that, go up and get it out of the air.
6 seconds to play before the end of the third quarter. They give it to Wilbur Jackson. A penalty flag is down. That stops the clock with 2 seconds to play in the quarter, so we will have one more play before the gun.
Matusak jumped off sides, number 72, the left end for Oakland.
Chuck Heberling apparently saw it just the way you did, Roman.
Boy, can you see the two guys now that Oakland has at defensive end? 6'7" Matusak and 6'9" Filial. How would you like to be DeBerg?
How would you like to be somebody like Eddie LeBaron in that situation? If you're 5'6" or 5'7", you wouldn't see anything at all.
Defense, number 72, second down.
I wouldn't want to be 6'3", myself being in there against guys like that.
Well, L.A. bounces back, and Ray Malavasi has to be happy. 21-zip over the Seahawks in the third. Last play of the third quarter. 2nd and 5 from the 47. A handoff to Paul Holcomb. He broke a big one a moment ago. He has good yardage here. Shoved out of bounds. He has a first down. They're in Oakland territory, and the fourth quarter will begin with San Francisco at the Raider 42. That's the end of the third quarter with the score. The Raiders 23 and the 49ers 10. And we now pause for a word from your local station.
Monday on the White Shadow. It's one super mismatch. Carver High against the Harlem Globetrotters. Don't miss the White Shadow, Monday at 8, 7 Central.
This is CBS.
In the third quarter, LA 21, Seattle nothing. In the first half, Pat Hayden had 13 straight completions to set a Ram record. 2 of them went for touchdowns, 1 to Charlie Young, 1 to Drew Hill. Wendell Tyler also ran 3 yards for a touchdown, but then on the last play of the first half, Pat Hayden broke a finger on his passing hand. He is out of the game, and he has been replaced at quarterback by Jeff Rutledge for the Rams. Denver in the fourth, leading New Orleans 10-3. If the Rams win and the Saints lose, it's a first-place tie in the West. Off a double reverse, Solomon will throw, and it's complete. Ken McAfee with his first catch of the afternoon. They can either run or pass off of that. Solomon took it 56 yards for a touchdown on that play 2 weeks ago against Atlanta. This time, the former quarterback, Freddie Solomon, hits Ken McAfee.
Well, watch Ted Hendricks come out of the corner of your screen here. 51 cross. The right guard makes a fine block there, which prevented the play from going. And Solomon, who is an ex-quarterback, makes a big play. Tatum with a good block, good tackle there.
They're inside the 30 of the Raiders and still very much alive with 14-18 left in the game. DeBerg hands it off to Francis. Francis turns it around the outside and gets down to the 13-yard line. Now, Francis does not have exceptional speed. As a matter of fact, it would be accurate to characterize him as rather slow, and yet he was able to get around the corner. How?
Well, I'll tell you what happens here. Oakland starting to come down to stop the inside game. Francis gave him a little fake inside and came outside and makes good yardage there.
18 yards to be exact. Bill Walsh takes a look at his charts and the way things have gone so far. His team has come back to life offensively. They trail by 13. Paul Hofer carries. And Hofer squirms forward inside the 10 before Charlie Filio gets credit for the tackle.
You know, there's another reason you can sweep to the left side. A big guy like Charles Filio doesn't move well laterally. 49ers took advantage of that.
We looked at that Denver-New Orleans score a moment ago. 10-3 Broncos in the fourth. San Diego has already won. And if the Broncos win, then the Raiders would have to win today to stay a game back of the Broncos and the Chargers in the AFC West.
And the Raiders are having their work cut out for them because the 49ers are knocking on the door.
Second down, and we'll call it 5 from inside the 10-yard line. Hofer spins away from Lester Hayes, battles for yardage, gets to around the 5. At the top of your screen, you can see the yardstick. They've got to go to the 3 for the first down.
Hofer runs real hard. It's tough to bring him down with an arm tackle, which Lester Hayes tried to do there, but wasn't successful. Hofer 9 rushes for 96 yards.
Hofer could be on his way, in all likelihood, to the first 100-yard game of his career.
He's running well. He don't have many to go. Only 4 yards, and he's got it.
3rd and 2 from the 5. 12:08 left in the game. They give it to Hofer. I believe he's got the 2 yards they need for the first down.
That's the play they scored on in the first half. Come back to what's good for you.
Chuck Heberling may call for a measurement here, but I think he's got it.
Well, Browning's come back in the game, and the big guy, Filial, is coming out.
Well, that shows you how much I know. They must have spotted the ball wrong. That's
what happened, Bob. I think so, too.
Thank you, Roman.
All right.
Well, they've got no choice but to go for it. Field goal does them very little good.
Well, in a situation like this, you got a big quarterback. Quarterback sneak might not be too bad.
4th and inches says it all. Hofer.
He didn't make it.
They were waiting for him, Lester Hayes and Jack Tatum.
What a defensive effort by Oakland.
They're not even bringing the sticks out to check it. The 49ers defense is coming out and the Raider offense, and now Chuck Heberling says we will take a look with the yardsticks just to make it official.
Well, they're trying to run over Hendricks and Matusak. Nobody takes Lester Hayes. Lester Hayes, nobody takes him. And there's Jack Tatum.
All right, the Raiders hold and take over inside their own 5-yard line, and they still lead it 23-10. It's nice to see that Roman Gabriel's complimentary tickets are put to good use.
Yeah, it looks like old Tootal's come back to the game.
I don't know. Judging by yesterday's performance, this guy moves a little better than Tootal.
Well, as Tootal's manager said, though, he's 2 years away, so, you know, you got to give him that much time. It's tough to step in the ring and do it overnight. Maybe she could, though.
I will not touch that. Mark Van Eegen carries on first down. And across the 5-yard line. All kidding aside, I think that the 49ers might have been victimized by a bad spot on that Hofer carry on third down. It looked like he had the first down, and they moved the ball back a bit.
I agree with you, Bob. It did. All kidding aside, as you mentioned, it could very possibly been a bad spot. Of course, we're up a lot higher than the guy that made the call.
Van Eegen goes limping off.
Boy, that's a loss. If he's not able to come back, but he looks like he just maybe sprained an ankle, little tape, he'd probably be all right.
He got 4 yards on the carry. It's 2nd and 6 from the 8.
49ers twice now have come downfield. Once in the first half, 81 yards, don't score. And now in this half, don't score. That's tough.
11:05 remaining in the game. Derek Jensen carry. He's got a first down for the Raiders. The 49ers, after being turned away in their touchdown bid, had to hope that they could hold the Raiders without a first down and then get the ball back in good field position. But the Raiders have foiled that plan as well.
That's right, Bob. And so often it happens when a team makes mistakes. They don't put points on the board. The defense hits the law, and now they're allowing Oakland to do exactly what they want to do, control the clock.
A Frank Corral field goal has added to the LA margin over Seattle, 24-0. But they're without Pat Hayden, who has broken a finger on his passing hand. Booker Russell gets the call and out to around the 20.
Well, the 49er defense that time had a little pursuit going for him, but Oakland still gets 5 yards.
And the clock continues to move with 10:05 left.
Well, knowing Stabler, he's not going to sit on the lead, I don't believe. He'll probably still put the ball up, and he's in a pretty good position to do so here.
On 2nd and 5 from the 20. Booker Russell. 2, maybe 3, and third down is upcoming.
The right side of that 49er defensive line starting to tighten up now.
If the score remains pretty much the same as it is now, you can say that the game turned in about a 3-minute span at the end of the first half and at the beginning of the second. San Francisco had a 10-9 lead, and there's Tom Flores, the Oakland coach, in the driver's seat right now. And in the last minute and a half of the first half, Stabler took his team down the field for a quick touchdown, and then a fumble on the opening kickoff of the third quarter by San Francisco gave the Raiders the ball back for another quick score, and since then nobody's done anything.
That's right. It's just been cat and mouse up and down the field with no points scored. Well, Charles Cornelius made a fine play there. A little arm tackle prevented the first down. 49ers will get it back.
Ray Guy comes on to kick. His first one went 44 yards. His second one 26. Dungy and Solomon are the deep men. The Jets in front of Green Bay, but the Packers still alive with time remaining in that game. They trail by 5. Dungy has moved up to around the 35. Solomon is at about the 30. Guy will meet this around the 15-yard line. Not an especially high kick. Dungy takes it on the run, cuts back. Good field position for San Francisco around the 47 or 48-yard line.
And we got a flag on the 45-yard line. 35-yard punt.
Jeff Barnes stopped the run back after a return of 6 yards. Penalty marker on.
But a clip against the 49ers.
Whenever you're losing ball games, it seems like everything goes against you.
So this is going to push them back some, and we'll get the official call from Mr. Heberling.
Clipping number 20 on the return. First down.
James Owens clipped on the return. The clock is stopped with 8 minutes and 16 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter, and Oakland still clinging to their 13-point lead. Another tough assignment for Gary Bender next week as he covers the battle of the NFL cheerleaders on the Sports Spectacular.
Boy, isn't that a difficult assignment?
Why didn't you rate that assignment?
I don't know. I really don't.
First and 10 from the 30-yard line. DeBerg with time to throw out of the backfield for a Hofer, but that actually is a lot of action and very little forward progress.
Well, again, an example of where DeBerg is maturing. Receivers covered downfield, dumps it off to the back right away.
May interest you to know that the Raiderette of the week is from Sunnyvale, California, Miss Gail Cantor. You can read all about this new Raiderette on page 106 of today's edition of Pro Magazine.
I'm turning to it right now.
Start leafing through it.
All right.
Second down and 9 from the 31. Over the middle and incomplete.
Well, DeBerg had a little pressure on him that time, and resulting in a bad throw because Solomon was open on a curl pattern right across the middle on the left side.
Third down.
That's what pressure will do. Sometimes you don't have to tackle the quarterback, just get in his way.
8:07 showing on the clock. Still time for a comeback, but it was really a backbreaker when they didn't get any points at all after being inside the 5 with 4th and inches.
That's really hurt them, because now they have to throw the ball before they can still run.
23-10 Oakland. They need 9 yards to keep the football. And it's broken up. Intended for McAfee, and Phillips timed his arrival perfectly, hitting him just as the ball got there.
I tell you what, that was fine defense. If the ball is thrown down around the midsection of McAfee, though, even with the good hit, McAfee probably could have come up with the catch. All we have here is a crossing pattern, one-on-one coverage. Ball's a little too high. Allows Phillips to get up and knock it down.
Phillips, the veteran out of USC, with the good defensive play, and now Dan Melville comes in to kick. Ira Matthews waits in single safety back around his 30-yard line. There's Matthews, number 43, leading kickoff return man in the NFL, averaging almost 30 yards per run back. Melville boots it. Matthews takes it, trying to go outside, and gets virtually nothing. The Raiders will set up at their own 35-yard line with 7:53 left, and they still have that 13-point lead.
Oh, okay.
Well, the birds swarm around the Coliseum. It's about the time of day when they seem to descend upon the fans.
Well, with the time change, I think they're a little off balance here. They came in at the wrong hour.
The Raiders have the ball and the lead with 7:53 left. 23-10 the score. Stabler not content to sit on it. Airs one out deep down the sideline for Cliff Branch and broken up. Melvin Morgan arriving there to knock it away.
Morgan doing a good job in replace of Gerard Williams, who had a slight concussion when he went off the field early in the third quarter.
The Washington, D.C. International at 3 Pacific time next Saturday. One of the classic turf races from Laurel, Maryland. Expected to compete are Golden Act, the 3-year-old colt who finished in the money in all 3 Triple Crown races. Bowl Game, winner of the Turf Classic, Native Courier, and others. And the show will also include live coverage of a special tribute to a firm from Aqueduct Racetrack in New York. Next Saturday on CBS. Clarence Hawkins carried, but not very far.
Well, he was wrapped up right away.
For a 4-yard loss.
trying to draw a play. Al Cowlings is in the ball game now for the 49ers, a good friend of O.J. Simpson's.
3rd and 14, just past the Raider 30.
A 4-yard loss on the play, making it 3rd and 14. So if they can stop this play, the 49ers will get the ball back quickly.
Well, with Cowlings in there, they get some experience and leadership. He's very good on the pass rush. That time it was evident as he wrapped up the ball carry on the draw.
3rd down, they need 14. Stabler might be sacked for the first time today. They get him for the first time.
Well, they had 3 of them in there on him that time. They got Cowlings, Hardman, and Webb. 3 of them. They only needed 1 more, and they'd have had 4 aces.
On the 4th down and 22 to go at the 23.
That makes it 4th and 22 as they push them back to the 23. Stabler stalks off. His offense really has been stopped in this second half by the 49er defense, except for that one short drive following the 49er fumble right at the start of the 3rd quarter. Ray got a kick. Dungy and Solomon wait deep. Dungy backs up to around the 32. Tony Dungy trying to dance outside, but a good tackle cuts him down. Jeff Barnes came down there and made the tackle. The 49ers have 6:28 to work with, and they're down by 13. Okay, 6 minutes and 28 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter at Oakland. Bob Costas along with Roman Gabriel, and the Raiders lead the 49ers in a Bay Area battle 23-10.
Well, coming into the ball game, we expected a shootout with both offenses, but we're getting just the opposite. The weaknesses of both teams are supposedly defense, and both defenses are doing a yeoman's job.
49er ball at the 33-yard line. DeBerg with a play-action fake. Plenty of time to throw. Lobs it out of the backfield for a short gain to Paul Hofer. Hofer is spun down by Monty Johnson, the 7-year veteran from Nebraska.
Well, that time they were hoping that the Oakland linebackers would lose Hofer, who faked the running play, checked into the middle of the line, and came out to the left side for that small reception.
2nd down and 8, and the clock moving, exactly 6 minutes left. 49ers trailed 9-0, came back to a 10-9 lead, now trail 23-10. If they lose this one, their record drops to 1-9. Oakland would go to 6-4 and stay a game back of San Diego and possibly Denver too in the AFC West. DeBerg throwing off the hands of Hofer and incomplete. Lester Hayes and Monty Johnson there on the coverage.
Boy, Oakland had a blanket that time as they doubled both outside people. Had linebackers covering the tight end and running back, and DeBerg went to the right guy, but the ball was just a little overthrown.
You saw Mike Schumann picking himself up slowly, but it was Hofer whom the pass was intended for. 3rd down and 8 from the 35. They bring in the 4th down lineman and the 5th defensive back in the obvious passing situation.
They take out Hendricks and Villapiano. Surprise.
DeBerg needs 8 to keep the football. They're coming after him, but he gets rid of it. Both Solomon and Monty Jackson had a crack at it, and neither one came up with it. 4th and 8. There's a flag down on the play, and a holding call is coming up against San Francisco, which will obviously be declined by the Raiders.
Well, I'll tell you what, number 74, Dave Pear.
Holding. Offense. Number 67. Refused. 4th down.
Ron Singleton held. The Raiders wisely refused. 4th and 8.
74, Dave Pear really applied the pressure on DeBerg, causing DeBerg to throw an errant pass.
And there's Dave Pear, acquired for only a 2nd-round draft choice from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers during the offseason. That's got to rank as a steal for Al Davis and the Oakland Raiders.
Well, it has to, because he was also an All-Pro in the Pro Bowl last season.
Speaking of Al Davis, the president of the Raider Club, his wife Carol has been ill recently and is in the hospital, and everybody here at CBS wishes her the very best for a speedy recovery.
We sure do.
Dan Melville will punt. Ira Matthews up to field it on the dead run, and Matthews has some running room down the sideline. Now he cuts it back. This is reminiscent of his touchdown run against the Chargers, because that's just what he did. He started off right side and cut it back left, but this time San Francisco was able to stop him before he got too much running room. But nonetheless, it's good field position for Oakland, and they are really in command with 5:24 left. Watch him walk the tightrope on the sideline.
Here's a great lateral movement that he has, too. He cuts back right here. Ron Schumann of the 49ers saves perhaps a touchdown as he comes in from behind to tackle him.
Just outside the 45 of San Francisco. Any kind of sustained march here and a couple of first downs, and the Raiders will just about put a lock on it. Mark Van Egan. Good block by Clarence Hawkins. Melvin Morgan fought off it eventually to make the tackle on Van Egan.
Now, the one thing the Raiders don't want to do is get out of bounds. That stops the clock. They want to keep the clock running because they can probably sit on it with a couple of first downs.
Van Egan got 7. Scoreboard says 2nd down and 3, and that's what we'll go with. From the 39-yard line. Clarence Hawkins fumbles the football, and the 49ers have it. Charles Cornelius pounces on the fumble.
Boy, he got hit. That was Jimmy Webb, I believe. What a tackle. He doesn't have much of a chance at all. The ball's handed off. Watch Jimmy Webb come in from the right side of your screen. Kaboom. That's Webb and also Cedric Hardman. Fine play by the 49ers. They're still in the game. Here's a good angle of it right there.
Cornelius, who had the interception in the end zone earlier in the second half, now comes up with a fumble recovery, and the 49ers still have life. 5:15 remaining. They trail by 13 points. 1st and 10 from their own 43. DeBerg out of the backfield to Hofer, and Hofer goes nowhere. They lost 3 yards as he's tackled at the 40.
Now we get a screen pass by the 49ers, which was diagnosed well by the right side of Oakland's defensive line.
You have to surmise that the Oakland secondary is doing a great job. Freddie Solomon, who's a big threat, has caught only 3 or 4 passes today, and most of them have been for short yardage. I don't think Mike Schumann has caught a single ball all afternoon, and they're forcing DeBerg to settle for those little tosses to his backs.
They're giving him quite a different number of looks, and that's upsetting DeBerg.
Here's DeBerg lobbing it out, and it's broken up. Mike Davis, the strong safety, knocked it away.
Well, we got James Owens in the ball game now. DeBerg's going to have to try to get downfield with his tight ends, Bob. They don't use their tight ends enough, and Oakland's taking away their outside people with double coverage, so they've got to go to their tight ends.
For San Francisco in this game, their wide receivers have caught 7 passes. Their backs have caught 9. On the other hand, Kenny Stabler has 13 completions, 12 of them to either his tight ends or his wide receivers, only 1 to a back.
Little difference in yardage.
4:31 remaining in the game. 3rd and 13 for DeBerg. Over the middle, got Hofer wide open. Hofer dragged down from behind by Jack Tatum, but it looks like a first down. They're at the 45-yard line of Oakland.
Well, that time Oakland coming with the outside backer, which put Tatum man-on-man on Hofer, but he was a little too far off. Hofer delayed, came across the middle. They've been real successful with that play. But their tight end was man-to-man. They've got to come to their tight end some if they want to get in this ball game.
They got about 15 yards on the play. It gives them a first down. We move inside 4 minutes to play. From the 46 of Oakland, the handoff to Hofer. Trying to sweep the right side with a couple of blockers in front of him, and he gets out of bounds, which helps. Mike Davis hit him there.
Well, you might say that's not a very good call, but earlier in the first half, they ran the same play for about 30-some yards. I don't know. It does stop the clock in this situation, but they didn't get much yardage. They need more than yardage. They need touchdowns.
It'll be 2nd down and about 5 from the 41.
Mike Davis forced about a foul. The gain of the play of 5 yards. It'll be 2nd and 5 at the 41.
Steve DeBerg, who had thrown for 11 touchdowns coming into this game, has not had a touchdown pass today. Phil Francis ran for their only touchdown. Ray Wersching had a field goal. That accounts for their 10 points. DeBerg back on 2nd and 5. And this one is intercepted. Jack Tatum picks it off. Sneaking up behind him was Bob Brewer, the tight end, trying to wrestle the ball away from him. But that didn't work out. John Matuzak was putting some pressure on DeBerg. He unloaded with that pressure on him right into the arms of Jack Tatum.
Ball was thrown late. Bob, actually the tight end was there. We'll take a look. If he releases the ball on time, Tatum doesn't have enough time to come in front of the football. He waits too long. You can see there, Brewer was open earlier. Fine play by Tatum.
3 minutes and 42 seconds remaining now, and Oakland still with that 23-10 advantage. And 1st and 10 from their own 43. Derek Jensen carries on fumbles. But Dave Casper is there to make a big play for Oakland. It was loose for a tantalizing second, but that is the way the game has gone for the 49ers.
Unbelievable. I don't think I've seen the ball bounced around as much in a ball game as we have today.
Both clubs have been guilty of plenty of fumbles. Oakland has not, by any means, been perfect. It's just that they have been victimized a bit less than the 49ers.
That's right, and Oakland has taken advantage of the 49ers' miscues, where the 49ers haven't taken advantage of Oakland's.
Exactly 3 minutes left in the game. Van Egan. Just about the only guy today you can count on not to fumble.
He's been a big horse for him, not only as a runner, but also as a pass receiver. Coming into the ball game, he had 22 receptions.
You think back again to that 4th and inches situation early in the 4th quarter, which Hofer failed to get as he ran against the left side of the Oakland line, and they pushed him back. Had the 49ers scored then, this is an entirely different situation.
That's right. So many key plays the 49ers haven't been able to come up with.
3rd and 4, and Stabler not bashful about throwing. Over the middle, this will be a 1st down. Van Egan has plenty of yardage. Mark Van Egan to the 35-yard line of San Francisco. We'll get the 2-minute warning before the next play, and unless something crazy happens, Oakland has this one wrapped up.
Well, let's take a look at it. Talk about Van Egan. Here he sets in there, comes out of the backfield on a check down, coming into the vacated area by the linebackers. Fine run here. And the Stabler's controlling the football just like he wants to do at this juncture of the ball game.
If it's any consolation for the 49ers, Paul Hofer had a heck of a day. 12 carries for 102 yards. Included in that total was 1 run of 47 yards. He also caught 5 passes for 64 yards and a total of 166 yards in total offense. Denver beat New Orleans today 10-3, so both Denver and San Diego won today. The Chargers and Broncos are each 7-3. If Oakland hangs on here, they'll be 6-4 and a game back in the Western Division. Speaking of which, they proceed to fumble. After a lateral by Dungy, it's Tim Gray with the ball. And I guess we haven't seen the last of the 49er offense. They come back out on the field.
Well, it seems we always talk too quick, Bob. That was Van Egan that time who lost the ball. That's the first time he's fumbled in quite a... Let's take a look at this. Just a simple handoff in here. He has plenty of room to run. He loses the ball. Looks like he just lost the handle on it himself. Dwayne Board, number 76 of the 49ers, possibly could have knocked it out of his hand.
Well, that was Van Egan's 27th carry of the day. He came into the game with 127 consecutive carries without a fumble, so he went 154 carries before he fumbled.
So how do you knock a guy that's been able to do that? You don't.
I guess the fumbleitis was just infectious here today. And Van Egan finally caught the disease. Incomplete off the hands of Hofer along the sideline. Speaking of Van Egan, he rushed for about 86 yards today. He had 84 yards before that last carry and probably got a couple before he fumbled. So around 85, 86 yards on the day on 27 carries for Van Egan.
He had a big day. Big day. Of course, it's not over yet. Always talk. Game's not over till the whistle blows. San Francisco with 6 turnovers. Oakland with 5. That's a lot of turnovers.
So neither team has exactly conducted a clinic.
You could win 3 or 4 ball games with that many turnovers.
surprising that the score is not higher, considering the number of opportunities each team has given the other. Wilbur Jackson can't hold on. Does anybody here want the football?
It doesn't look like it. The 49ers are making too many mistakes, and that's something we didn't expect to see from their offense because they've been very efficient.
A minute 44 left, 3rd and 10 from the 35.
Now you have problems. Oakland's coming in with their prevent defense. 4-man rush and 5 defensive backs. Big play time for the 49ers. They're still not out. Minute 44, a lot of time.
DeBerg needs a touchdown, an onside kick, and another touchdown. And if that happens, well, Thurman Gabriel and I will fall headlong out of the booth. DeBerg back. Flips it out to Phil Francis. Francis has to go to the 45 and does for a first down. San Francisco will keep the ball.
Well, he took what the Oakland defense gave him, and they came up with the first down.
First and 10, 49ers at their 45.
Oakland taking their own sweet time about lining up. Looked like Ted Hendricks wanted to call a timeout. Willie Jones misses DeBerg, and Monty Johnson knocks the pass down.
Oakland had 38 people on the field.
Monty Johnson breaking up the pass.
They had 2 defenses out there that time.
I saw everybody but George Blanda on that play.
12 men on the field, defense.
How many did he say?
I think he just said too many because he couldn't count the exact total. Chuck Heberling gets a laugh out of
12 men on the field, defense, first down.
12 men at least.
At least.
1st and 5 from midfield with a minute and 18 seconds left.
Well, you get the feeling that Solomon's going to catch something big. He hasn't all day long, but you get that feeling.
DeBerg dropping, stepping up into the pocket, finding Freddie Solomon. They wrap him up at the 38-yard line. That's a first down. San Francisco hustling the line up. Exactly a minute left as they snap it. Paul Hofer can't get away from Rod Martin. Martin, the 3rd-year man out of USC, makes the tackle. San Francisco does not want to use up any timeouts here, but they were forced to that time with 55 seconds remaining.
Well, you know, sometimes a quarterback's going to his backs like this, especially when you're down like the 49ers are. People think that he's trying to build his percentage, but that's the structure of the pass offense the 49ers have. He's taught if that receiver's not open, drop it off to the back right away regardless. Hell, he's discussing something over here with Bill Walsh. Walsh must be telling him we've got to get points on the board quick, so let's get downfield with the football.
San Francisco still has 2 timeouts left. They've just expended their first one of the second half. There's Joe Montana, the rookie out of Notre Dame, DeBerg's backup.
Montana keeping all the plays that the 49er offense is running. Wonder if he has anything they can do.
That's the story. 55 seconds left. The 49ers have been held scoreless in the second half.
Well, the Oakland defense now has the big guy, Charles Filion, playing over the center. That's got to look awesome for Fred Quillen, the center of the 49ers.
From the 38-yard line of Oakland, and DeBerg has to call another timeout. Now, how do you explain that?
I don't know, Bob, especially when you come off with one timeout, explain the play, and then come back and make that kind of mistake. Of course, that's the inexperience of a young football team. Well, maybe Fred Quinlan saw Charles Filion, was a pretty awesome guy up there.
Awesome lineup tonight on CBS. 60 minutes. Archie Bunker's place. The new cook is going to cause some trouble for Archie tonight. One day at a time, Alice, the Jeffersons, and then a special report on the CBS Reports program on the presidential candidacy of Ted Kennedy. All tonight on CBS.
Oakland's used almost every defensive lineman they had. They got Willie Jones in there now at right end.
DeBerg has plenty of time to pick out a receiver. Incomplete. Intended for Freddie Solomon, but even had he caught it, he would have been way out of bounds.
That time, the 49ers only had 3 receivers downfield trying to throw into an 8-man coverage. Oakland with 3 guys coming, 8 covering. That's tough. The odds aren't with you.
DeBerg has not been sacked that frequently in the game, but he has thrown under pressure many times.
And the pressure, just the pressure of a defensive lineman getting in his face or a linebacker has caused him to miss some targets.
49 seconds, 1 timeout left, and a 13-point deficit. That's the sad story for the 49ers. Wilbur Jackson in motion to the right. And the pass batted in the air and no good, incomplete. Intended for Bob Brewer. Ted Hendricks, I think, got his hand in there and knocked it away.
I'll tell you what, that's difficult to throw. I don't care who the quarterback is. Oakland rushing 3 people. They've got 8 people in coverage, and the 49ers only have 3 receivers going deep.
4th and 10 from the 38-yard line.
It's almost as though the 49ers expect Oakland to come, and they're leaving the backs in.
The silver and black will be 5-0 at home for the season after today's game. Just 1-4 on the road. If they can get their act together away from home, they're a serious playoff contender. DeBerg gets rid of it, falling down to Phil Francis, and Francis gets a very rude how do you do from Rod Martin.
That's the kind of tackle that the coach tries to teach everybody to make, and Martin did it.
So that ends San Francisco's last gasp. With 36 seconds remaining, all Oakland has to do is run out the clock, and the 49ers have only 1 timeout left.
Well, the 49ers hurt themselves just as much as Oakland, not getting enough people into the pattern, especially near the end of the ball game when they needed points. Well, there's Walsh telling DeBerg something about the 8-man coverage that Oakland had.
Kenny Stabler covers up. Oakland uses their last, rather San Francisco uses their last timeout. At least it appeared they were signaling for it. Bill Barnes produced our telecast this afternoon. Bob Dunphy directed. Wally Miller, the associate producer, and you'll get a look at some of the other people who helped us put it together this afternoon from Oakland. They had 1 timeout left, and I guess they elected not to use it. They'll let the time run out. Oakland is 6-4. The 49ers are 1-9. And the overall series between the Bay Area teams stands at 2-1 in favor of the Raiders. The Raiders have now, by the way, won 19 of their last 20 games against NFC opponents.
Well, the Raiders have come on real strong. Stabler with only 1 interception today. Another reason they're winning. He keeps the ball out of the hands of the opponent, and they continue to go.
Thank you, Roman Gabriel. From Oakland, this is Bob Costa saying so long. Once again, there's your final on the screen. And the NFL on CBS is a presentation of CBS Sports.
This is CBS.